YouTube every now and then. I'm actually going to go watch it probably today. But essentially, they talk about the Carnival Cruise that got stranded for a second, and all the food rotted, and like they had pretty much sewage, their sewage, like their bathroom, like shit and pee and poop got somehow I don't know what you call it. It just got overwhelmed. Like it couldn't release any of it out to the ocean. I don't know what the hell's going on. It just decks were getting flooded with poop and pee. It was disgusting. And then I guess because the food was rotting and stuff. They allowed people to drink alcohol, but that made things worse, and fights broke out. And finally, it's pretty sick. The like a waterfall of poop and pee. It is just disgusting. I mean, it is just disgusting. It's crazy. Probably good for the ocean. Probably good fertilizer for the ocean, perhaps. But in all seriousness, I mean, this is a very touchy subject because it's shedding light on a behavioral pattern on a certain community, which if you talk about, you'll just say you're a racist, right? But you know, they did it. They did the behaviors. They put it out there for everyone to see how badly they love to behave. And now we know. Now we know. We know that they love to behave badly. And that's a problem for the rest of society. You take a section, a little tiny portion of a community that listens to, you know, all kinds of music that gets you really hyped up, gets you freaking out of your mind. You lose your mind. You know, you're emotional, you're ecstatic, you're excited. You're in a different state. You're no longer in a state of peace, calmness, alignment. You are now in a state of whoop, 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 you know what I mean? Ridiculousness. The aim, right? The aim is to go get turned up. Turned down for what? You know, like it's that mentality of, oh, I'm gonna go get shit-faced, have a ball, and do everything that's bad for my body, bad for others. You know, it's centralizing a certain characteristic of a certain community that loves to promote how awesome their community is. And then we see on full display how their community is. And then we go, oh, we need to start banning this and this and this to keep order, because there's no order. There's no order in this community. You know, they don't bring order, they bring chaos. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the true nature of a certain community that's influenced by music, by culture, by whatever you want to call it. You could even go as far as saying the CIA has infiltrated rap music to destroy the youth of this certain community, right? You could easily say that. There's a lot of people saying that. A lot, even people in their own community say that. There's a lot of people who even stood up and became leaders to completely tell the truth, and they get assassinated. You know, this stuff goes deep. This stuff goes to the point where you cannot blame people for their behaviors if there's certain organizations literally infiltrating their community with a bunch of bad shit. Can you really blame those people? No, I don't think you can. You cannot blame ignorant people for being ignorant. I mean, the courts will say, yes, just being ignorant is not a case for you to be free, right? Your ignorance doesn't get you off the law. It doesn't unhook you against anything that you've done negatively, right? But having that said, you know, if you're a Christian, you know, I kind of go, I don't say I'm a Christian, but I grew up in that, and I'm very much implement a lot of the things that you learn, right? You take all the good from all the different places and you incorporate it into your own sauce. And so I find that, you know, there's just a lack of education, a lack of everything. What you're seeing on full display is a community in full display of their ignorance, completely. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying some of them who keep that cycle going, where this community gets infiltrated by influence that influences their entire way of thinking, their entire way of behaving, their entire view of the world completely, right? So they go on to live their life in this community with this perspective that keeps getting poured on them from whatever you want to say, the music industry, the television industry, the film industry, whatever you want to say, that keeps, like, let's just make sure they get all the worst parts of society, and this community will then look like shit. To be honest, I feel bad for this community, because you look at them, they go, this is what they like. They love doing this. They grow up with the notion that this is what fun is. This is how you get down. This is, you know what I'm saying? But it's their culture, so don't fuck with their culture, right? But who made that their culture? Was it themselves? I don't think so. I think somebody influenced, like I said, probably even white people outside their own community, influencing a different community to make them seem like horrible people. And that's my case with the whole Carnival Cruise. We got good people being sardined in a situation, a carnival, right? This Carnival Cruise, this machine, this moving city, if you will, right? You're asking for trouble. You're just asking for trouble. You're just asking for trouble. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just 1 + 1 = 2. You put a bunch of people that have been culturally mishandled over the generations, you cram them in a ship, and that's what you get. You get chaos. You just get absolute chaos. You got people fighting, you got kids beating up old ladies, you got people doing ungodly, unsafe things that could really hurt themselves and others. You got people getting so fed up with the bullshit that people bring into the cruise that they are leaving them at some port. Like, you know, we're fucking sick of your shit. Get the fuck off our boat. We're leaving you on this port. Goodbye. Good luck with whatever your life, you know. Like, it's that bad. It's that bad. It's crazy how bad shit gets. Hey, what up? Gay. Masters is gay, I guess. So you're telling us that you're gay? What up? So tell us, Dutch Masters, what's it like to be a homo? Because I don't know. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you're the one saying that you're gay, and you brought it up. So tell us your life of being gay. Dutch Masters, please. We'd like to know, what's it like to be gay? Because I have no idea. You brought it up. You made the comment, gay. Dutch Masters, come on, let's talk about this. Why are you gay, Dutch Masters? Why is it so important to you to tell everybody on this channel that you're gay? Please fill us in. Don't just leave us hanging with the one word and say, hey, Dutch Masters, my name is Dutch Masters and I'm gay. Okay, you've made your statement. Now complete it. Like, what's so amazing about it? Nothing? You don't want to say anything? Okay, goodbye, Dutch Masters, goodbye. Anyways, what I was saying was, yeah, I got a whiff of the Carnival Cruise. You know, it's just people having fun. You can't look at people having fun and just go, you know what I mean? Like, go take your boring life and shove it. You know, people are allowed to have fun. Now, what got crazy is things getting out of control. Things got a little out of control, and that happens. That happens when you have, I'm just going to say it. You know, perhaps some intelligent people, but then perhaps some very low IQ people. And you put low IQ people in situations, what do you get? You get fights, you get arguments, you get entitlement, you get, you know, all kinds of shit. You know, you don't get understanding, you don't get patience, you get, you know, in all fairness, I understand why somebody would be upset on the cruise, right? These assholes, you know, broke the fight, destroyed my peace, destroyed the fun of the carnival, you know, or these assholes, you know, smacked my grandma, you know, that pisses me off, you know, like there's so many reasons why you would be pissed off. The AC wasn't working in my room for 5 days. I'd be pissed off too, you know, but you don't have to act like an animal. There's no, oh, you know, give me this, give me that, you know, you just say, hey, look, I spent 5 days without AC. It was a horrible time. The atmosphere was horrible. I got to say, people just ruined the experience. I want a refund. You know, you're allowed to do that, you know, but to make it worse on yourself, to go ask for a refund and act like an animal, you think you're going to get it? You're going to get some of a refund, but do you think they're going to be like, oh, yeah, let's treat this animal and give them what they want. No. Do you ever get anything in life by acting like an animal? You might get that from other people who are weak, but the majority of people who are not weak, they're going to look at you and go, get the fuck out of my face. Like, you don't get to behave this way. You think you're a human being and you're entitled? Well, what about me? I'm a human being. I'm entitled. If you're entitled, I'm entitled to some fucking peace of mind. And you're taking that away from me. So I'm going to act like a fucking animal to you. How do you like it? You know, it's like that saying, you treat others the way you want to be treated. How do you want to be treated? Do you want to be treated like an animal? Then go act like an animal. Go act like an animal and see what happens. You're going to get treated like an animal. You know what I mean? You put yourself in these situations. You know, don't be all like, oh, they're racist now because they're talking shit about us. You put yourselves in yourselves in that situation. You all decided to get turned up, make a fool out of yourselves for the world to see. You know what I'm saying? Good job. Good job. Good job. You made the world pretty much hate you even more. You know what I mean? You hate the fact that people are racist. You continue the bad behavior, and you scratch your heads wondering why people hate us. Figure it out. Figure it out, dude. Just behave. Behave. Is it that fucking hard to behave? You know, it's not. It's not. You know, don't come with me this racist bullshit. It's just behavior bullshit. That's all it is. You want to act like a fool and then turn around and be like, oh, they're racist because they're talking shit about me. Don't act like a fucking asshole. Don't act like a fool. Then maybe you won't be called an asshole and this and that. You know what I mean? Change your behavior. How many people go home and actually look at themselves in the mirror to go, I'm going to change my behavior, not their behavior, my behavior, because my behavior is shit. How many people do that? No, they just go, that's my lifestyle. That's my traditions. This is our tradition, our culture. By who? CIA, who's been feeding you music to fuck up your brain and your soul and get you lost? That's your culture that you're so proud of? I would hate to be proud of that. I would hate to be proud of that. If I was black, I'll be the first guy to be like, get me the fuck away from this shit. Get me the fuck away from this brainwashing garbage. I want to be my own man. I'm not going to succumb to a culture that's supposed to tell me how to act. Bullshit. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. Stop acting like everybody else wants you to. Stop acting like you're expected to wear baggy jeans and baggy shit and baggy this. It's not culture. It's CIA brainwashing. You fed into it. You bought it. You bought it because you don't know any better. It's not your fault. You're a human being. You know, Jesus, if he's real, probably feels really bad for you all because you don't know. You don't know what it's like to have peace. You know, have you had any effort, any attempt to create peace in your life? No, you create chaos. You want to get turned up because somehow that's important in life. How is getting turned up important in life? You ever thought about taking care of your responsibilities, taking care of your kids, taking care of your jobs, your responsibilities? How about that? No, let's get turned up. I get it. Maybe you do have responsibilities and you're fucking fed up and you need that moment to get on the cruise and get wild. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I get that. But you're on a fucking cruise, on a fucking boat in the middle of fucking in the ocean. You really want to fucking risk it? You know what I mean? God. No sensibility, no sense, nothing. You got no sense. I'm not saying black people have no sense. I'm just saying some people are just idiots. That's just the reality we live in. There's always going to be an idiot, always going to be an asshole. And the people who are not idiots, are not hassles, are here to have to deal with it. You know, we're here to have to deal with it. You know, it's too bad. It's too bad that people can't wise up and actually look at themselves in the mirror and change their behaviors. It's too bad because that would change the world. If everybody took a hard look at themselves and was like, what am I? Who am I? Who influenced me? What influences me? And actually was like, oh, I'm not even me. I'm a thing I'm a thing that got made up because of TV, music, and all the influence. I'm not me. You know, did you ever ask yourself, who are you? You're the accumulation of all the things you read, all the things you watch, everything you listen. It accumulates, and that's who you are. You are the information, all the apps that you download, everything. That's who you are. The things you believe, the things you do, that's who you are. The things you do really demonstrates who you are, right? You can't hide who you are. It just shows in your behavior. It just shows in your behavior, you know, and you can change your behavior. You don't have to be stuck in those ways, you know, you don't. You don't have to be stuck in a culture because they're telling you that this is your culture and this is the way you should be. I never understood that. I've always, but I'm different. I've always been a lone wolf. I never been someone who follows the crowd. You know, I don't know. I'm just different. I've always been different. I don't know. That's why my perspective is a little unfair because I don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm trying to be really fair, you know, and balanced when it comes to these kinds of things and thinking. I'd hate to rag on a group of people, but you know, you're demonstrating. It's on camera. It's on, you know what I'm saying? Like all the fights, everything, you know, and it's like you don't see it anywhere else. You look at all the other cruises. Why is it different? Well, because they're not as cheap. Not everybody can afford those cruises. So it really shows you that, you know, you're gonna find a lot of people who don't have a lot of money. It's probably because of their behaviors. You know, you change your behaviors, you change your finance, you change relationships, you change everything. You change your behavior, you literally change everything about your life. Everything changes. It's not you change things about your life, you change your behavior, who you are, and you'll see everything changing around. It's not you changing things around you, it's you changing you, and things just fucking change. Because you're always going to be attracting what you're thinking, how you're behaving. You know, if you're angry, you're gonna attract anger. You're gonna attract more anger. You're gonna attract more of that. You know, if you're, you know, I get it. Music is very addicting, especially when, you know, it does its job. And it's what a good musician knows is that music releases chemicals in your brain, especially the good music. And that's why you have people going crazy. You know, they let loose because their chemicals are getting fired up and they're just feeling it, right? And if you're someone who bases life simply and solely on emotions, you're going to be lost. You're going to be a piece of grass blowing in every direction the wind wants to blow. You have no control of your emotions. You know, you have no control of your emotions and you have no control of your life. You know, you can't drive. You can't be the captain, the driver of your ship if you can't control your own ship. You know, if the emotions are driving the ship, you're fucked. You have no control of your outcome, no control of the direction you're headed. You know, you set a course, you're a captain. You get distracted by what? Stupidness, foolishness. You know, you get caught up in some drama, some bullshit, and it just destroys your vibe. It destroys who you were meant to be, what you were meant to accomplish and deliver for everybody else. Instead, you're delivering hatred and chaos, and you know, it's all in the music. It's all in the music, and people don't get it. They just think it's fun. They think it's funny. It's just part of our culture. And you just let the door open. You leave it open for all the bullshit to come in through the music. It all comes in through the music. All the hatred, all the information that you need, that you're feeding into your subconscious, all the bullshit through the, you know, that stupid bullshit got you going. Because, you know, if you allow yourself to be as low as an animal, music's going to get you. Music's the first thing that's going to get you. If you allow yourself to be less than human and you allow yourself to be captured and hypnotized by music, God be with you. Because in that music comes in information through the lyrics. It could be hating your neighbor. It can be egocentric. It can be whatever. Whatever the message, it's getting in there through the, you know, it's the stupidest thing on the planet, but people fall for it left and right. I don't know why. Are people that stupid? It cannot be that people are that stupid. There's just no way. But then again, if I was the leader of a nation, I would kind of want my people to be stupid so they don't rise against me. You know what I mean? So we give them a little bit of education, but, you know, just a little bit so they know how to read and they know how to function, so we can put them in and place them in jobs, you know, be a slave to a system. Not a boss. You don't get the education to be a boss. You get the education to be a slave. You know, if you want the boss education, you're going to have to move. You're going to have to be motivated yourself because no one's going to hand it to you. This world isn't set up to hand you success. You have to literally go after it, go get it, rise above the bullshit, rise above what I call structured netting so that people don't rise up. It's all this is our culture, so you stay in our culture. This giant netting that's just like on top of people, right? It keeps people from thinking freely, from actually achieving their best version, you know, because it's okay. It's okay. It's our culture, so it's okay, you know. Dude, I'd rather go hang out with the Amish. They have a better culture than that culture. You know, if you think that culture is amazing, it's going to bring you a lot of amazing pleasantry in your life, good luck. If you think life is about hitting high emotional notes, good luck. You know, good luck with that, because you're not going to get very far with that mentality. You're just not. You're going to be used. Everybody who's above emotions is going to emotionally control you. They're just going to emotionally control you. And everybody who's above emotions will emotionally control you. It's that easy. It's so easy for people who have this masterness about them. They've mastered emotions. You can't fuck with them. You can't do anything. You know, you could be yelling in their face, and inside they're just laughing because they see you for what you are. You're just full display your weakness. Your weakness as a man, as a woman, whatever. It's on full display. You cannot control yourself. You are pathetic. You are weak. You're not human. You're a zombie. You cannot control your emotions. You are a zombie, essentially. I get it, though. We like to let go because life is too much. I get it. And it's too much on purpose. But you have to rise above it. You cannot allow too much to crush you. You got to be strong. You got to work out. You got to make sure you eat healthy so you're on top of your game. You cannot be eating nachos, Doritos, fucking soda. Again, part of the culture. What does that shit do? It destroys your mind. It destroys your body. Next thing you know, you have like, you're overweight. That's part of our culture. That's part of our culture. Eating all this fucking chicken. It's just part of our culture. You know, why? Why? Look at Michael Jordan. Why not be like MJ? Why not? He is the perfect example of what society should be. Perfect example. He's just like elegant, nice. You look up to him because he's just like godly, you know? And how do you achieve that? You master yourself. You master yourself. You don't master anybody else but you. You don't try to put one over somebody else. You put one over you. You master you. You face you and go, that guy, that me yesterday, how do I become better than the guy yesterday that I'm looking at in the mirror? You know? Self-improvement. Self-improvement. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how there's people on the planet who are asleep like zombies that will never lift a finger to self-improve their own life. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people on full display showing us their true colors. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cultures being infiltrated by the CIA through music to destroy certain communities. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bullshit that exists on this earth that continues to rotate with the earth because it's being upheld by certain organizations that have all the money and all the resources on the planet, more than you could ever think of. Money does grow on trees. They print it. It's paper. They print it. Of course it grows on trees. They tell you that it doesn't. Another lie. Another lie. How many lies do you actually live by and actually think that that's life? Quite a bit of you. Quite a bit of you have fed into all the lies. But It's okay. These lies are systems. They're systems to keep things in order, essentially. And we need order. That's why leaders know. Leaders know why religions play such an important role in society, even though it's completely fake. It's made up for society to keep order among the masses, to bring a certain level of morality so society can continue. You know, look at the Carnival Cruises. There's no sense of religion there. There's no sense of order. There's no sense of anything. You know, it's just chaos. It's just pure chaos. You know, and that's what happens when you don't have systems in place that are fully functioning, even if they're lies, even if Christianity is based on the lie that Jesus is real. It doesn't matter. It helps create order. You know, that's something I've learned over the years, that a lot of kingdoms are built on lies, but keeps order. It's almost like a necessary lie to keep order. It's unfortunate, but humans are so lost that, you know, you almost have to lie to them for them to be happy and content. They want to hear the lies. A lot of people want to hear the lies. You know, it's not leaders' fault that so many people in our culture want to hear the lies, and you know, so it's almost like, well, we just give people what they want. You know, if they want to be idiots, then we'll give them what idiots want. If they actually stand up for themselves and ask us leaders what they actually want from us and demand what they want, then you'll get what you want. But most people are so entertained that do you think they'll ever message their governor or whoever's leading their state? A senator, do you ever think they would? No, of course not. Because I'll just go to TV. I'll just go to my next rap music that keeps me entertained and happy. Keep those chemicals in my brain going. Because why should I think about my future? Why should I think about the futures of my culture and my traditions and that? Why should I even bother? You know, why does it matter? I mean, they're going to enslave everybody anyways. They're creating smart cities. You know, that's just another step closer to making sure everybody's watched and you know, they need that information so they know how to take care of you better. And their way of taking care of you better is by creating pretty much a prison system. But it's not really a prison system. It's just, you got to have systems. You got to have systems. It's just, you can't have societies without systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just part of life. Well, it is part of life now because of how many people exist. But I'm sure back in the day, these systems weren't necessary. And a lot of it is, for me, when I think back like 1,000 years, I think about people and elites and what they're thinking about. And they're probably thinking about, how are we going to create systems for cultures and societies in the future that are going to be massive? We're talking massive amounts of people, but we need these massive amounts of people to act as conduits for our systems. Our systems cannot be in play if we do not have enough conduits running through the system. So I'm thinking probably 200, 500 years before anything gets implemented by the elites. They have already been planning this from family to family to family, generation to generation, and they built on it. They built on their empires from what other, you know, people living in those elite societies, what they've done. Whatever. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just spewing hot air. You know, it's all entertainment purposes. I'm just jibber jabbing. I have no topic. I just come on here and I just start jibber jabbing. You know, I don't have a note that I'm okay. I've read it. I've discussed this topic. No, I'm just going off the cuff. I'm sorry if that's offensive for you. I'm sorry if you feel lost. I'm sorry if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't know. Anyways, there's something to be said about having cameras everywhere now. You know, you can't hide who you are. You know, everything's on full display. Even if you think there's nobody watching, there's somebody watching. You know, there's something recording you. Did you know that if you take infrared or something that senses infrared and you turn off all the lights or whatever and you film your phone, you'll see that it flashes every 5 seconds. Something is taking pictures of us every 5 seconds or taking up information from our phone. It's pretty interesting. A lot of people don't know that. So your phone is a tool of espionage on the individual. It's also collecting data on the individual level for every individual. I'm sure it's being all amassed in some AI supercomputer. I mean, it has to be, or why do that? So, it's pretty interesting. If I was an alien race and I wanted to know everything about a certain race, humanity, I would create a device that everybody carried and everybody used out of convenience, right? That's how you get it everywhere. And I would force governments to push those phones out, to invest in the creation of these phones, to push it, to pretty much change humanity forever, right? With these cell phones. Again, speculation. I'm just saying, if I was an alien race, that's what I would do. If I was an alien race and I want to know every single detail about humans, I would make sure I would have devices on every single one of them and get their information. Amy Itch says, I think I ate bad mushrooms. Oh no, that's not good. Annie Itch says, I don't feel good. I can't pee. I'm 11 years old. Wow. That's scary, my little girl. If I were you, I would go straight to your parents, tell them exactly what's going on, tell them you feel sick, and then your parents will take care of you. If you're being for real, if you're not being a jackass and just pulling my leg, which sometimes that happens. I can't help you because I'm probably thousands of miles away. Go to your parents. What are you doing talking to me if you're feeling sick? Go to your parents. Go to your mom. Go to your dad. This is not a joke. This is serious. Go to your parents right now and tell them you feel sick and there's something wrong. You ate a mushroom. You don't know what it was. Go to them right. Do not be scared. Do not be scared. Go to your parents. Pick up a phone. If you don't, for some reason, don't have parents, that'd be weird. Just go straight to them. If you're feeling sick and you're a little kiddo, go to your parents. Please. Do not hide anything from your parents. Do not be scared. Magic mushrooms? Yeah, careful, lady. You're 11 years old and you're taking magic mushrooms. That's just mess with you, and just it can make you really sick and who knows. So don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm pretty sure she was pulling my leg, but But just the same, if you feel sick and you're a kid and you're watching this, like, please go to your parents. Like, you should always go to your parents, no matter what, no matter how scared you are. Tell them what's going on. Hey, Thanos says, hey, thanks for stopping by. I'm just jibber jabbing. I'm having fun. I saw this thing about this Carnival Cruise line that pretty much everybody's like, wow, we don't like you people. And everyone's like, wow, you're racist. And it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It has more to do with your behavior, because even your own people are kind of sick of this shit too. So don't be throwing that racist card at our face, okay? Just because I'm white and I'm not allowed to have an opinion, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself with your shitty mentality that everything is racist and we're not allowed to have opinions because we're attacking your skin color. No, we're attacking your behavior, and we're allowed to, because you put yourselves in full display for everybody to see. You made fools of yourself. We're allowed to talk about it, just like everyone's allowed to talk about me because I'm making a fool out of myself. In some ways, I'm sure. Some things I'm ignorant about, and I always talk about that. I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to be an expert who has all the answers. I'm not going to give you the answers. Go figure it out on your own, I'm not going to let you cheat on the test. But I guess Carnival Cruise is the Walmart of cruises. And it has been, I guess over the months, Carnival has been exposed as this, place you go to party, which is great, which is what people want, but it seems like it's way out of control. They literally banned, you cannot play rap music anymore on the Carnival Cruise. I wonder why. There's a line you cross. You can let go, but you don't have to cross the line. You don't have to become an asshole suddenly, But that's what happens with that kind of music. You let go. That's the whole point. You let go, you lose yourself. That's the whole point of turning up or whatever. Turn down, turn up, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a shit. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. I'm only pointing them out because, like I said, they're on full display and they've literally as a group of people, ruined ruined an experience, a cruise experience. They literally ruined it. So that should tell you a lot. You know, that should tell you a lot. When they ruin things, when they're ruining things, check your behavior, check your culture, because there's something wrong with it. You know, it's toxic, it's a cancer. You know, change your behavior, please. We're all begging you. Do something with your culture where you actually raise your kids right. How about that? How about that one? You know, oh, you don't like what I'm saying? Too bad. Too fucking bad. You put yourselves on full display for the whole world to see, and now you're gonna get fucking torn to pieces. YouTube and the whole fucking world has nothing to do with racism. Has everything to do with your shitty ass behavior on full display for the world to see, and you're out here saying that oh, we did nothing wrong. Go fuck yourselves. Take your shitty, toxic, chaotic behavior and go move to a different planet, because we don't fucking want it. We don't fucking want it. Go move to a different planet. Seriously. Get the fuck out of this planet if you don't know how to behave and treat others. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here. You know, you don't belong on this planet. You are not a human being. You are a possessed demon. You've allowed yourself to get possessed by demons through alcohol, through the music, through little manipulations, little seductions, you know, down that road of destruction. Oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to be seduced to the dark side. You know, it's so easy to be seduced. So easy to be seduced, you know. Oh, the dark side is so seductive. It is so seductive. I mean, it is, that's where seduction comes from. It is just pure evil. It's just pure evil. Pure evil on display, you know. As far as, you know, that's how I see it. Anytime you step one foot towards a direction of anger or whatever else that gets you to that version of you, because we all have different masks. We all have different personalities that shine depending who's around us. That's something people don't understand. That's something I learned as a screenwriter, that us people, we don't have just one personality. You know, we have multiple, and or we have one major personality, right? And we just show parts of it to different people. I guess you could say it like that. We have one major personality, and we allow different parts to be seen by different people because we feel comfortable by certain people to see that aspect about ourselves, right? And that's probably what we're seeing on the cruise. We're seeing a full display of a side of a personality, of a culture that just was on full display. Is that their fault? It's almost entrapment, because you're saying, come to this cruise, have fun. They come to the cruise, have fun, and then you're like, sorry, you're not allowed to have fun. So it's almost like a setup. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like a setup, because it's not their fault. They're just people trying to escape their shitty lives. Let's just be real. People have shitty lives. Let's be real. Okay, they have jobs they probably hate. They have kids that drive them crazy. You know, they have bills that they can barely manage. They want to go fucking out and have fucking fun. That's just the reality. Who doesn't want that? You know, so to say, hey, come to our Carnival Cruise, you can afford it and you can have fun. Well, Carnival Cruise fucked up. It's not really the people. It's Carnival Cruise fucked up, okay? They fucked up. They created the situation. So it's not really the people's fault. I think a lot of people have it wrong. They're blaming the people when really they should be blaming the company. They fucked up. They fucked up because they should have known better. They should have known better and they didn't. And this is what they get, you know? And now the company's like, well, now you're not allowed to have Bluetooth speakers. You're not allowed to have rap. But that, again, you fucked up as a company. You can't fucking, I mean, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. You open the gates to a situation, you let it flourish, and now you banned something, but now you just look like assholes. You look like assholes, Carnival. You really do. You made a bunch of people look like assholes. You created the situation, and it's like you don't take responsibility. You would much rather, as a company, not take any responsibility for the situation you created and just ban stuff, you know, and it's like, no, that's not how it works, you know? You fucked up as a company. You're pretty much fucked, Carnival. Like, you've really fucked up, you know? But I think Carnival can get back. They get back on their feet if they do certain things. They make their ships be able to sustain a situation like that. I don't think their ships are designed to sustain a situation like that. So I think that's their big mistake. They thought, hey, we'll make things cheap and get a bunch of people on the boat. I think that was a huge mistake. On their behalf. Oh, they see the mistake they've done. They've seen it. They're like, oh, what do we do now? Like we let the cat out of the bag. You know, what the fuck are we gonna do now? They can't go back to just being, you know, oh, we're only gonna do expensive prices. They can't go back to that. It's too late. You know, it's too late. They either got to keep doing what they're doing, and changing the structure of the boat and the cruise and the systems that actually can support that kind of culture and that kind of behavior. Otherwise, you're just asking for hell on a boat. Hell on, like literal hell on a boat is what it is what you're asking. How do you do that? I don't know. Build cruise ships that actually have a police station. Build jail cells in the actual cruise ship. You know, do cruise ships have jail cells? You know, put people in jail cells or some variation of it, you know. Maybe that's the solution, you know. Hey, we have an actual police station on this cruise. You break the law, you do something, they're gonna arrest you, put you to jail, and in the cruise jail, and then from the cruise jail, take you to the other jails so you can go to court. How about that? How about that? You'll see how quickly things will go from chaos to peace like that, because their security is bullshit. They have such shitty security. What are you doing? You're inviting thousands of people on a boat and your security is shit. What is that? What is that? Let's focus on Carnival. Everyone's focused on the people. Focus on Carnival. You know, how about the behaviors of Carnival? How do they handle the situation? How do they think? How you can always make situations better, right? What do? Did they handle this situation? No, they didn't know how to handle the situations. You know, I think now Carnival is like, okay, let's do this. Let's keep bringing those people, but we need to have better rules in place. We need to have better security. We need to have better, you know, we can't have people jumping off the boat. We can't have people hitting people. We can't have people stealing things, you know, and creating dangerous situations for their kids, like literally super dangerous situations for their kids. So it's like, you just need a better system in place, you know. Think about leaders in countries. They have systems in place to keep people in check. That's all you need on that cruise is better systems to keep people in check. That's all they need. And you'll see that people's behavior change on the boat. It's no longer, oh, we're here to get so fucked up that we're going to cause chaos and disrupt the whole cruise. That's failure on the cruise. That's failure on the shipmates, the security. That's failure on them, not on the people. Don't make it about the people, because people are just people. You got to realize people are people, and you got to realize that not everybody is a saint, not everybody, right? So you're dealing with people. People are coming onto your boat by the thousands. You better have systems in place to keep that shit in order. Do not blame the people. The people just showed up and did what they were supposed to. The Carnival cruise fucked up, really fucked up. Now, I could say, yeah, change your behavior, sure. But you know that's not going to be the case. You know that's not going to be the case. The realistic case is have better systems in place on your fucking boat. That's how you fix that. You don't fix the people. They don't want to be fixed. That's the issue. They don't stop trying to make it about the people when you know the people don't want to be fixed. Fix the boat. Fix the boat. Fix the systems, and you will see that it'll fly. It'll fly. It'll work. You just got to tweak it. You got to tweak it here and there. Okay, banning the Bluetooth speakers, maybe that's a step towards that, but I don't think banning Bluetooth speakers is really going to do anything. Like, you really got to have Put cameras all over your fucking boat. Put cameras, put televisions, so that when people are walking, they see themselves on the TV. Guess what? Everybody's watching. You really think they're going to be acting a fool? Maybe some of them for attention. But I'm telling you, when people are watched, they act more, they act better. When they're being watched and they know they could go to jail, they will act better. If there's a fucking police force on that cruise, they will act better, Is it crazy? Yeah, it's fucking crazy to pull a police force on a fucking boat, but you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to hire a private security that's like special forces, If you're allowing for people to go crazy, like at a show or something, shows have security. I mean, people die at shows. I mean, they get so turned up that people die. But you got to have security. You got to have security. If you do not have security in place, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? I'm sorry. Carnival did not do its job. Don't blame it just on the people. People are people. You got to love the people, no matter what they do. You just got to love them. They're people, okay? They go home. They have lives. They're breathing too. They're going through an experience, good or bad. They're going through it. They're people. They should have at least that decency to be treated as people. Even if they're behaving badly, you treat them as people. You're behaving badly, let's put you in a corner, because that's what you deserve, right? That's what you do to people who are behaving badly, right? Good point. You make a really solid point. Warrior's Blood says, Warrior Bloodline, ooh, good name, by the way. Cameras won't matter when they take phones out and film each other. Yeah, you're absolutely right. See, that's why I was saying it may not work. But I think for the majority of people, it will. But you're right. There's certain people who love putting fights on camera. They're just, they love it. They just love it. I mean, I've seen it. I'm guilty of watching, not a pleasure, but in amazement that they have this on YouTube. They have YouTube, like people fighting each other. And I'm like, how is this even on here? How is this street fight even on YouTube? That's ridiculous. How do they allow that stuff? I don't know. Because what happens? They're encouraging it. Essentially, you're encouraging it. If you allow it to happen, you're encouraging it, So, again, the cruise. Let's go back to encouragement, right? If you're creating a situation that's encouraging certain behaviors, you're going to get that. Why do you expect anything less? I don't know. I don't know what Carnival was thinking. Maybe they were thinking, if we press too hard, they might call us racist, which is true. There's a fear of being called racist everywhere you fucking go, and so it makes it even harder. It makes your job even harder, so there's that to consider. Do other people think about that? No. Do they think about how accusing people of being racist when they're not is such a horrible position to be in, and to put somebody in that position? Like, why would you do that? Unless they're really if they really hate you because of the skin color and they tell you your face, I hate you because of your skin color, then yeah, they're racist. Call them out for the racist assholes that they are. If they show behaviors towards, like some sickness that they're fighting a different race because they're different color, yeah, they're fucking racist, But they're not racist if they're like, hey, you're being an asshole, check yourself. You would say that to anybody who's being an asshole, And so, a lot of folks have that in their chamber ready to go. Racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. You know what I mean? And so now we're dealing with all of this accusations aren't even real, but people take it very seriously. Oh, you called him a racist? Oh, I bet he's a racist, Warriors Bloodline says, yes, the ones going crazy are proud of it. So JDK, yeah, I don't know what the fix is. I think it's just systems, because clearly we're not going to be able to change behaviors, right? So it's just systems. Extreme, we're talking security, security walking down the halls, a presence known, I think that however you do it, however they figure it out, you make that presence known. You fuck with us, you're out. You're out. You don't listen to us, you don't follow the rules, you're out. We'll send you on a little fucking boat. There you go. Have these little boats, like specialized that sit on the cruise or whatever. They're attached, and they take the little boat and they ferry out people who are being assholes straight to jail or whatever. You know. I don't know. Is it worth it? Yeah, but I think it would be. If I was the CEO of this cruise line, I'd be like, look, bring me fucking 50 ideas to increase the safety of this fucking boat, but allow people to keep having fun. But there's a fine line. Like, don't allow people to get so crazy. You know, we need people who are brave, who are strong, and going to go up to these people and grab them and go, stop. You're out of control. You're causing chaos. Come with me right now. You're in trouble. It's got to be that serious. If you don't make it that serious, if you don't have huge guys on the boat like you have like you would have at a bar, the door guy, that's the problem. They don't have door guys. You need door guys like everywhere on that cruise. You know, hire a gang of motorcycle people who are fucking beasts, you know, in life. You'll see how fast everyone's chill. You know, they'll party, but they'll be chill about it. You can allow people to have fun, lose control, but without crossing that line. But you're right. There are people who fucking thrive on that shit. They film it. They love the chaos. They applaud it. They encourage it, you know? So we're creating an environment where that's encouraged. Of course it's going to get out of hand. Of course it is. How is it not? It's like one big high school party, you know? That's just, you got to have parents there. You got to have chaperones. You got to have, you know, people watching. It's unfortunate, but you do. You know, I don't know. Put a robot dog walking down the hallway. You will see people might fuck with it, but, you know, they fuck with the robot dog, kick them out. You know, you mess with our shit, you get kicked out. It's that simple. You know, you get banned for life, you get kicked out, you get left at a port, which is what they're doing. You know, they're banning people, they're leaving people at ports. You know, it's what they should do. They're doing it right, but it's almost like not enough, you know. Extreme systems, extreme radical security systems, like they do at grocery stores. They have those little, you know, things you walk through that, you know, I mean, just do something so it looks like everywhere you go, there's a security measure, and it's like, it just, the presence, it's the presence, right? The presence of it, I think, will make them walk the plank. Oh, shit. Yeah, dude. Seriously, dude. Seriously. Make them walk the fucking plank right off the fucking boat. You know, have people waiting for them, whatever, so they don't drown. But seriously, that would suck. Can you imagine? People will stop acting out immediately. If a cruise is like, hey, you misbehave, we're going to make you walk the fucking plank. Oh, my God. Trust me, people would be on their toes, man. And the first person that does it, you make an example out of him. That's it. Who's gonna fuck with you on the cruise line? Nobody. Nobody's gonna fuck with you. You know, you make it safe though. You make it safe, but it's still such a shitty thing to do. Can you imagine? Oh my God, you're walking off the deck of a boat, which is stories high, you know, and obviously you don't want to do it too high. Or you might kill a guy. You might snap their neck. Because what if they're unhealthy and shit? You keep it kind of not too high, but high enough it's scary, you know? Like you got to drop down like 3 stories down, 2 stories down for some people, 3 stories for other people. How about that? Dude, I mean, the nicest thing a cruise can do is literally drop you off at a port. Seriously, that's the nicest thing. Yeah, I'm surprised that captains are not pulling out the plank, because that's what I would do. I would fucking, as the captain, take out a fucking plank. That's a good one, Warrior. Take out the fucking plank, lay it out, and be like, all right, you want to keep fucking around? Here's the plank. Who wants to be the first one to cause chaos on this boat? You'll be the first one to walk the plank. That's brilliant, dude. That's brilliant. Can you imagine? Like, they even give them their suitcase and everything. They're like, here's your bag. Here's your shit. Please get off our fucking boat you're a disgrace. You know? Please, Carnival, please. I'm gonna write them a letter and saying, I have warrior's bloodline, and I have a solution for you. We're selling planks. Maybe have a shit for the band people and let them enjoy each other's company, like a cheater lobby in the video games. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, put them in a room all together. That's what I'm saying. They gotta be more creative. They gotta have rooms like it's a corner. Like you place somebody in a room like it's a fucking corner. You know, there's nothing there. It's just a fucking insane asylum room, and you get placed in there to fucking chill. It's all padded and shit, you know, so you can go in there and, you know, try to break some. Or they have what if they put smash rooms in cruises? You know, they have smash rooms. I think that'll help people let out their aggravation a little bit, let out their anger. You know, I think that's a good idea. You know, have like a smash room. You know, you can go let out your shit if you have to. That's a good, like, if I was security, I'd be like, look, I know you're upset. Do you want to go smash some stuff and relieve it? Come with me. Wouldn't that be awesome? Instead of like, oh, you're arrested, blah, blah, blah. No, let me help you out. You obviously got some anger issues. Come over here. We got an old dishwasher for you to take a baseball at. And you can record it with your phone. How about that? You can record it on your phone and post it on your fucking social medias that you went into the smash room at a cruise and the captain took you aside because he saw you were upset and allowed you to do this. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think it would be awesome. I think that would be awesome. Could it get out of hand? Maybe, but that's why it's a smash room, right? You have special gear on and nobody gets hurt. Most importantly, nobody ever leaves the smash room with any of the baseball bats or anything. That has to be like on lockdown for sure. On lockdown. Because if somebody got a fucking handle of that baseball bat or whatever, more chaos. More chaos. More chaos ensues. Anyways, anybody else have any brilliant ideas out there? Because I think the walking of the plank is pretty brilliant. Can you imagine going on a cruise and it says on there, we have every right to make you walk a plank if you act unaccordingly or whatever. When I was in school, we had a mean kids bus, so maybe the mean kids ship would make everybody happy. The mean ship. The mean ship. A ship designed just for people to let out their anger issues out. Like you go to this cruise to work on your anger issues. Let's be honest. Come on. People have issues. They're going to come on board and they're going to bring their issues with them, with their wife, with their girlfriend, whatever it is. I mean, you watch the videos, we're talking like people yelling at each other at 5 a.m., people trying to sleep on the cruise, and they're just yelling, fighting each other like it's like they're at their house. You know, what is that? Why do you do that? I would be embarrassed. Like, why are you yelling at the top of your fucking lungs so that everybody can hear you? You're probably doing it on purpose so that everybody can hear you, just so you can make the other person feel bad. You know, like, wow. These people have a lot of anger issues that probably stems from having made a lot of bad choices in life. Let's face it. We all make choices, and if we make a summation of bad choices, we're gonna be in a state of hell up in here and up in here. You know what I'm saying? And you bring that to the boat. Oh man. Like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I mean? You should have that before you enter the boat. Check yourself before you wreck the boat. or just have a sign that says, we don't tolerate bullshit. We have planks for you to walk if you cross that line. But honestly, no, it's very humane what they do. They just leave you off at a port, whatever. If that's the case, that's very humane. Walking the plank is very humane, but I think it would definitely get the point across. Sponsored by the UFC. Oh shit! UFC on a cruise. They're gonna do it. They're gonna have to do it now. Take UFC to a cruise. Oh my god! Or have a UFC like little ring for people to go in and fight, and then you film it so everybody on the cruise can see. And they all get together, like yeah. They're all cheering the fight. Fighting is a very crazy sport. Fighting is a violent sport, but a sport nonetheless. I mean, people die. There was a boxer, and this is just boxing, not even UFC. I think she might have been a UFC fighter, but there's a woman who was like really beefy, and she spent her whole life working out or working hard, like a badass, like a real badass. She was a real badass, and she died because she got punched in the head and her brain got detached, and she died. It's a very violent sport. I don't even know how or why that sport still exists, to be honest. It's so violent, but again, it's sport. Humanity needs that sport for some reason. I don't know why. Humanity is not just all peaceful, it's also violent. It's a double-edged sword. You're going to get violence, you're going to get peace from humanity. It's a double-edged sword. So we peaceful people crave violence. We watch violence on TV. We get our dose of violence from movies, right? It's fake at least, but we get our dose because we're human beings. We get entertained by violence. We get, in the right setting. In the right setting, we allow ourselves to be entertained by violence. But when it's in the wrong setting, it can be entertaining, but in the wrong setting, we know it's bad, right? We morally know that's bad. It's uncivilized. It's not a sport. It's not a competition at that. It is, I guess, a competition to see who's more macho, but it's not a real competition to see who's a real champion. Like as a sport. So I mean, fighting, civilized, violent fighting in a way, like boxing and UFC. Karate. It civilizes fighting. It civilizes violence. Movies civilize violence. They make it acceptable, right? Which is like crazy because we get entertained by violence and we go on our lives peaceful, but in a lot of ways it's actually encouraging violence. So it's a weird, right? It's encouraging violence, but we know better, right? We know better as a person not to be like those people. That's why we go to movies. That's why we escape. That's why we experience voyeurism, right? We put ourselves in the place of the character, and it's like we're experiencing these things ourselves. And let's face it, sometimes being peaceful is kind of boring. Chaos is something exciting about chaos, right? There's something very exciting. It's almost like a lure, right? It's very seductive. But it's just human. It's just human nature. You can't. I think it's unnatural to be expected to be a saint. It's just unnatural. You're a human being is meant to be all things. But we do live in societies, and there are other people, and you have to, as a human being, it's actually your job to be conscious, right? Aware of other things. Here we go. Nico Lay says, what is the best sport? Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, best sport? I don't know, because all different sports require different things, right? Even basketball players train different from baseball players. Every sport is different and requires different expectations from athletes. So to say there's a best sport, that's really tough. I would say there's popular sports, which was the most popular. I would say football, American football is popular here. NASCAR is a sport. It's popular. UFC has become very popular. I don't know. I don't know. If there's a best sport. To me, a best sport would be the sport that really like pushes you in every way. But every sport does that. It's like I said, every sport requires different training and different muscles and different things. So it's all different. I don't know. It's all different. It's hard to say which is the best sport. I mean, which is the best sport to you? I think that's the most important question. What is the best sport to you? Some people like golf. I myself have got into bocce. You know what bocce is? BOCCE, bocce. It's a silly sport. It's a silly game. I don't even call it sport. It's a silly game, simple game, and it's a lot of fun. You just toss a ball to a little other ball, and you try to get close to it. The one that's closer to the little ball is wins the point, right? Does fighting encourage us to step on the plank on the cruise? That's in the move that encourages chaos and lures seductive human nature. No, probably. Yeah, of course there would be, because if you're a cruise ship and you're saying, hey, we allow you to party, you still need to have the presence of security. You still need the plank. You still need everything, because you're inviting chaos. So you need to have something to keep that in check. No, I'm actually not. I have the live feeds, but I'm actually keeping them private for now. I'm not making them public. So it's like whoever catches them catches the live feed. If you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. Well, yes. So that's a fair question. So you got a car, right? A car doing all the work, got a horse doing all the work. But the reason why it's a sport is because they're doing little things, right? They're like, you're riding the horse a certain way. There's a specific way to ride the horse, whatever the case, right? There's training, believe it or not, that goes to horse riding and learning how to ride the horse right. So it's not, you believe it or not, it's not just the horse doing all the work. Yes, but the rider is doing something. He's actually doing something. You may not think so, but he's doing something. And everything that he does is very important. Every millisecond on that horse counts. The weight of the rider counts. Everything counts. So, riders are small for a reason. They stay small for a reason, right? Because the lighter the weight, the better. But everything it's a sport because they have their nuances, right? To becoming a champion, you need to do this training, this, and that to become an expert of that field, and then you do it. So yeah, of course it's a sport. Of course it is. It's a sport because you have a beginning, an end. You have, what I mean? It doesn't matter if it could be miniature race car racing. Yeah, the car is doing most of the work. Yeah, you're doing a little thumb work, but it's still a sport because there's a beginning, there's an end, there's a point, there's a finish line, there's points that you can. It doesn't matter who's doing the work. It's are there players? Is there somebody training? Is there somebody dedicating their life to something to become a champion of that? Yeah, of course, it's a sport. You could say, you could even make autonomous robots that fight each other, and you just let them fight. You don't do anything, and you let them fight to the death. That's a sport. It's a sport because there's a beginning, there's an end, there's a winner, there's losers, there's ways to win points. What's ligma? Is chess a sport in your opinion? I mean, it can be. It can be competitive. It can be super competitive. You can train, like I said, you can train. You can dedicate yourself. You can join tournaments and become a champion. Yeah, it's a sport. Sport. Anything you compete, anything that you're competing is a sport. You're competing to be a winner. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser. Yeah, it's a sport. If there's a winner, there's a loser. It's a sport. It's a competition. Is it a sport? Good question. Good question. you know. Well, if you're using your brain, it's a sport, because using your brain is using your body too. So even if you're using a minimal function like riding a horse rather than playing basketball, right? You're using very limited physical activity, right? It's still a sport because you're using your brain, and using your brain is using your body. And so, yeah, it's a sport. It's a sport. It's a sport. I don't know. I'm confused. But yeah, I think if you're using your body, um, it doesn't matter like how extreme physically you're using your body. That's just comparison. You're just comparing one sport to the other. This sport uses this much physical activity. This sport doesn't. Just because this sport doesn't mean, or uses minimal physical activity doesn't mean it's not a sport. You know, I think a sport becomes a sport when it's, like I said, when there's competition, when there's things at stake, when you're pushing yourself, when there's tournaments, you know. Otherwise, a game is a game, right? A game, you can play a game, any kind of game, but when does a game become a sport? You know, funny you bring up the thumb wrestling. So there's a competition, I guess you call it a sport, the stepping competition, where they get up and it's a whole tournament. You can win lots of money, and they literally stand there face to face and they take turns slapping each other. Have you guys seen this? It's incredible. It's crazy. Did it catch on? It did for a minute. I don't know if it's still going. You know, it's a crazy competition. Is it a sport? I don't know. What I think the longevity of a competition suddenly makes it a sport. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the hell makes a sport a sport. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking out loud. I mean, let's think about this. Right? Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's all you're doing is comparing how much physical activity you're doing. You know, if that's all you're doing, then I don't know. Sport. Shooting those little, you know, when you go out shooting, and it's a competition or whatever. I mean, some people call that a sport. Um, Anything that requires mental or physical, your physical capacities, anything that requires training because you're competing against somebody else, anything that requires dedication for the long run, like the Olympics or something, whatever. Yeah, I would call it a sport. I think it's the longevity of something. The competition, you going back to compete again, you know, it becomes a sport at that point. Yeah, in my opinion, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna look up the definitions and see what's up. Stop fighting. It's crazy. Even UFC fighters say it's crazy. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Yeah, they know it's crazy. They go into it knowing it's crazy, knowing how much training they have to do, but they love it because they're like, oh, I have a chance to make money. I have a chance to get seen. You know, who wouldn't love that? But I agree, it is crazy. But, you know, people love what they love, which is another philosophical question. Should we give people what they want? I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes. Even if it's bad for them, because if you don't give them what they want, they'll act up, right? So either way, you're gonna have to give them what they want, um, even if it means that it's gonna hurt them in the long run. That's not your problem, is it? So you allow people to live their lives and make their own choices. You allow for opportunities to happen. If they watch the show, then they watch the show. You know, the better. Warriors Bloodline says it's crazy a person can make 50 million a year for bouncing, hitting, or throwing a ball. It is very crazy. I agree. The world we live in is crazy. You start thinking in terms of masses and population and sports. I mean, the millions of dollars that sports brings in is insane. It is truly it's very honorable. You know, if you do it right, you can become a huge stature in society. You become a fixture, a concrete column for people to look up to. It's actually quite amazing. Do I sit there and watch sports all day? No, I know, because it's kind of toxic. If you dedicate your whole life to sports as a fan, it's a little toxic to your life. You're wasting a lot of your time, a lot of productivity time. But who am I need to get away? It's not a want, it's a need. It's a need because their souls are tired. They're tired of being drained, tired of being in the line of working all the time. You don't get a break. So you take a vacation, you do whatever you go watch TV, you go to a concert, you go, and that's a good system. It's not a bad system that we have, that you're allowed to go have fun when you want, whenever you want. You're allowed to go have fun. That's great. That's not a bad thing. Imagine Warrior Blood says, wait. Wordsmith says, what's your favorite sport or sporting event? Ooh, sporting events are fun. Don't get me wrong. They're fun. You go, you're all these people. I think any sporting event can be fun if you allow yourself to have fun there. You can get lost in the game. It's a lot of fun to get lost in the game and oh, you lost, you win. Oh, it's so much fun. Any game is fun, right? The best one for me, I think, I don't know. The simpler the game, the funner. Right? For me, it's the simpler the game, the funner it is. Right now, I'm caught up with Bocce. It's such a stupid little game, but it's like my favorite thing to do right now. I think though, a sport where you have a crowd, it's the same thing when you're acting on stage. You feed off the energy, and that's what's the magic, the real magic of being an athlete and being in front of that crowd. You feel the energy. Even as a crowd, you can feel it. But if you're the athlete and they're booing you or cheering you, whatever, you feel the energy. You can feel it. And it's such a spectacular feeling. I get the same thing acting on stage. When you got the people laughing and they're cheering you, it's the same feeling. You're feeding off that energy. You're using that energy to build your performance, So I think any sport that has a crowd is a lot of fun. Hank Hill. Ooh, we got Hank Hill. Hank Hill. Baseball. Baseball is actually fun. I know some people are like, why are we watching this? I think baseball is fun. Golf is fun. Any sport can be fun. It depends on whether you want to tune into the fun or not. And for me, for my majority of life, I've tuned it out because I've always been focused on the arts and focusing on my own projects. And in a lot of ways, when you work on your own projects, it's like you're in your own sport. You're competing for yourself in a lot of ways. People that don't like baseball don't know the game. Yeah, exactly. A lot of cases, people who don't understand the game are not going to get into it. If they've never played it, baseball folks probably have thrown a baseball at least once in their life or something. They played the game, because that's just up to the individual. It depends on circumstances. What's near you? Oh, there's soccer games near you. Well, most likely you're going to play soccer because that's what's near you. That's what's available. You're most likely going to go do the thing that's available to you. But I like mini golf. I love mini golf. It's such a stupid game, but I fucking love mini golf. I don't know why. I don't do it as often as I should. And after watching Happy Gilmore 2, I'm all like about golf. What? AI umpires? That's weird. No, you're joking. AI is taking everybody's jobs away. You can't be an umpire anymore. I want to know. Fill us in on your spiel there, because I want to know. Fill us in. But it's funny you bring that up, because if you watch Happy Gilmore 2, that's exactly what they're fighting. They're fighting to keep golf traditional, and you have this company, Maxi Golf, trying to recreate golf. You know, you get AI self golf driving cars, you have AI girlfriends. You know, they don't really show a lot of that in the movie, but what they show is how, you know, Happy Gilmore is part of the traditional golf, and they're trying to maintain that sport the way it is instead of changing it. I think they hit it right on the nail, right on the head of the nail, because it's actually a good topic to be discussing, because sports are changing. You're right, sports are changing, and you're right. There's people like you who are going to feel like, what are you doing to my sport? You know, what are you doing? That's hilarious. I never thought of that. You're right. You're right. Golf is the only sport where you can penalize yourself. That's funny. Golf is the only sport where you can really. Yeah. Warrior Bloodline says yes. They say no human error, so it would be completely fair. I don't know myself. Yeah, that's a good reason, but man, there's just something about the human element that you take out. You know, it's almost like the errors that the umpires make is part of the game. You know, you take that out, you know, you don't have coaches coming up to them and yelling in their face. You don't see that anymore. It's part of the game. You know, it's been part of the game. It's how it is. I mean, look at football though. They have cameras all up in there. They rewind it and watch it. You know, and yeah, I mean, AI is going to be everywhere. Sadly, and maybe not sadly. Maybe it's a good thing. Like someone was saying, it helps create a level of fairness. You know, so is it, you know, maybe it's good just to try it out, see how it goes. If people really hate it, then you know the fans are gonna go. They're gonna have an uproar. Everyone's gonna be like, "Boo!" You know, get this out of here. You know, but if fans see that it does what it does, then they might be okay with it. They might be okay with it. Everything's changing, and I think we just have to ride it and see how things change. And if it's not good, then yeah, I think fans are gonna have a problem. You know, there's a lot. That's the thing about sports. You cannot fool the fans. You know, you cannot. I mean, remember when players would do the knee thing, and how upsetting fans were, because they were like, "Keep that shit out of the sport. Keep that nonsense out of the sport, please. We don't want this. We don't want political messages. We don't want any of this garbage in our sports. Leave that in the politics. Leave it out there, but don't bring it into the sports, please." You know. So you know, people took a stand. Fans took a stand, and you know, there was an uproar, and I think fans are right. Fans are right. They know the game better than the players themselves. They not be players, but they're fans for a reason, right? They know the game. They love the game. They support the players. They love the players, certain players that can bring them the championships, right? Let's see. Hank Hill says, replay already ruined baseball. No more coaches yelling at umpires. Hank Hill, yeah. Warriors, Bloodline. If they remove umpires, why not go all VR, AI, then no human? Yeah, remember they tried that? They actually tried that during COVID. They had a basketball game, no people. It was all like faces of people on screens or something. I don't know how they did it. But it was truly bizarre. It was truly bizarre. You take the human element out of sports, what are we doing? We're ruining sports. Because the whole point of sports is the physicality of a human being, the mental state of a human being. I think that's all part of it. It's cheat. You're cheating. You're cheating in the sport by introducing robots and AI. That's exactly what you're doing. You're cheating. You're taking out the human element out, and you found a different way to cheat by being more fair. Is that weird to think? It's like, yes, AI will make it fair, but it's almost just like cheating. It's almost like cheating if you think about it. I don't know. Right? Can you imagine? Yeah. Anybody can be an athlete now because it's all simulated. That would be bizarre. Can you imagine? So bizarre. So bizarre. I mean, surely enough, if they don't do it with basketball or baseball, they'll just create a new sport that has all the robots and the AI features included, and I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure some new sport will be invented that's more appropriate to all of that and the modern times. Sports get created left and right. Whether they stick or not is the question. But I see it happening. I see a whole new sport being invented. They've been experimenting over the years, and they're just like, how do we do this? How do we incorporate a sport where like nobody's actually there? Nobody's actually there. Oh my god, that just completely revolutionized what a sport is. You know what I mean? Like, can you even call that a sport if nobody's actually physically there to actually compete, but everyone's just behind their cameras and computers? And yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. You can't compete. How do you compete like that? You can't. You got to be physically there. So I don't know. I think I agree with all of you. I think the sports we have already, don't touch them. Create new sports and let that be what it is. But I think, think about it. All the people who own teams and stuff, they're always thinking about how do we make more money, right? They're always thinking about that. So of course they're thinking about AI. Of course they're thinking about that shit. It's the bottom line. That's what they're worried about. And that's fine. That's fair. People like that should worry about the bottom line. I mean, they've got mega structures to worry about. They have fans to worry about. They have lots to worry about. It's not an easy task. Not a lot of people can do those jobs. I don't know why I said it like that, but those jobs. So these are people who are in the circle, I guess. They got all the knowledge, all the training, and whatnot. We call those people privileged, whatever. You call them privileged or you call them blessed, whatever. Okay, whatever your state of mind is, I think they're just blessed, and they're meant to be right where they're meant to be. I think people are exactly where they are because of who they are and who they surround themselves with. It's that simple. Who you surround yourself with and who you are at the end of the day is where you're placed in life. I think it's that simple. I think people overcomplicate it. I think people then throw shit out, words like privileged and shit like that, when they don't understand that they were just born there. You can call it privilege, you can call it luck, whatever you want. You can almost call it fate by the designer, the grand designer. Whatever. But people are meant to be where they're meant to be. Period. Because of who you are and who you surround yourself with. If you want to be a different person, if you want to find yourself in a different situation, surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. I have a problem with this because I think at the end of the day, I go, oh, I don't want to be like them. Like I want to be a filmmaker, but I don't want to be like them. I want to be an artist, but I don't want to be like them. I start surrounding myself with people and I go, I don't want to be like them. So I have a problem with that. So I find myself on YouTube and I'm like, yeah, I like YouTubers. I like that lifestyle. I like the communities. I like the people that jump in and talk to you. I like the system in place. It's working for me. Warriors Bloodline says, we will have Robot UFC like the movie Real Steel. Yeah, by the way, I love those movies, Chappie and Real Steel. Great movies, really showing us the potential of a future with robots. Oh yeah, they get, when they make movies like that, writers really get human beings, right? What's the first thing they do? They put them these like street fights. They put robots in these street fights. They bet on them. You know, it's so human. How human is that, right? Writers have to be so good at understanding human beings. You cannot be biased one way or the other. You just take all the bad, all the good, and you create a story, right? But yeah, oh yeah. I mean, you have the what's that sport? Where you build a robot and you control it. What do they call that? Robot fights, or I don't know what they call that, but that's already a thing. It's just gonna take time until we see actual robots on their feet and like actual fighting. You know, we're already there. Military has all these companies have been designing all these walking up. You know, even Elon has shown us all these walking straight up upright robots. Of course, we're gonna see that. Oh yeah, of course we're gonna see robots tearing themselves apart. You know. Hell, we'll put it even on. Let's have robot fights on Carnival Cruise Line. Battle bots. Yeah, battle bots. Yeah, man, right there should tell you everything you need to know about our future. Right, watch battle bots, and you will see everything you need to know about our future right there. And I mean, not even battle bots. I mean, there's drone racing. That's a sport. It wouldn't be surprised if there's a new sport where it's drone fighting. You know, where drones fight each other. You know, that wouldn't be surprising at all if people started doing that. You know. And then next thing you know, you got people in the drones racing. You have those like flying, fucking quadrocopter things that you fucking fly around in. Surely enough, I'm sure there's going to be a sport where they're fucking racing in those. You know, it probably is dangerous as any other sport, right? But I don't doubt it. You'll start seeing that shit. That is the question of the day. Seriously, when are they going to freaking put out a car, like a real like Ford, and it transforms into a robot and it helps you out? You're like, hey, Transformers. Your car is not only a car you drive in, but it turns into a robot that can help you do shit. That would be amazing. Now that would be amazing. Which there are people who have made Transformers. There are actually companies out in Japan, wherever the other places where they allow for innovation and creativity. You got places where they've designed Transformer vehicles. Now, they're really slow and it takes a lot of time and they don't really function as a robot, but it still turns into the figure. A whole car turns into the figure. But yeah, I mean, that would be fucking awesome. Your car, your Ford Fiesta turns into a robot and you're like, hey, I need help moving my trailer. I need help. And it just fucking takes it and like drags it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be amazing. Yeah, we're not far away from that. Give it 50 years and there's going to be a generation with fucking Transformers. Transformer dogs. There's already little toy dogs that are robotic. I mean, they're really simple, but it's already, the fact is, the matter is that it's a toy that people want. So if people want it, if there's a group of people that want it, if the economy wants it, they're going to build it, right? So if people want it and it's selling, they're going to produce it. You know, it's all about mass producing, right? Is it mass producible? Yeah, if cars can be mass produced, yeah, I think Transformers can be mass produced. It's all about making the decision as a company, as people, as human beings. We are now going to incorporate Transformers into our vehicles. I mean, think about it. If I was a car company, the more robotic I make my car, I think the better. The better. The more I make my car not just about style, but function to a level that we've never seen, yeah, that car company is going to fly off because it's the only car company doing it. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's doing the same lame shit, you know, like, oh, it can self-park. It can do, yeah, great. Show us what we really want. We want the Transformers. We want them. We know you want them. We want them. We just want them, you know? That can be, wait, Wait. Conversations. Warrior Bloodline says, wordsmith, I'm not touching that. That can be controlled from 1,000 miles away. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, sir. They control cars today. Have you guys seen that movie where all the self-driving cars and the plugged into the system and they all just keep piling up because they're just, the system's all fucked up? Right? No, it's seriously though, that's scary. That's the last thing we need, right? Are a bunch of giant robots that are controlled by a hacker. Next thing you know, your giant ass transformers is literally destroying your house. That's a funny short. Come on, that'll be a hilarious. That's a movie. That's a show. You and your transformer, like that's a show right there. You and your transformer. You know, if AI can truly be autonomous without hacking, without somebody behind the screens, because there's somebody going, it's not all, there's what if it's all fake? It's just a bunch of people behind computer screens and they're all like, oh, we got a question, let's Google the answer. Okay, yeah, here's this. I'm sure it's not that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were companies that were doing that first. You got a question? Yeah. Meanwhile, they have like 500 people behind a computer typing answers. No, but seriously, like this shit is hackable. They say it's unhackable, but someone's gonna find a way. There's gonna be an employee that's internal that's gonna know how to do it. They're gonna sell the information in China or whoever. They're gonna sell that information to whoever. You know what I'm saying? It happens every day. I mean, the Chinese have stolen so many technology from us. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how much technology they've stolen from us. Not only that, they produce everything for us. You go to a store, made in China, made in China, made in China. Everything's made there. Not only do they steal our technology, they fucking make everything there. So us in China, we're like this. Us in China, we're like this. No matter what you say, what you feel about China, you cannot separate us from China. We are so tied. Our economy is so tied to China. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. We cannot live without China. We cannot live without China. And whose fault is that? Probably Bill Clinton and all those people who signed all our jobs away to China. But did it keep things low cost? I think it did. I think it kept things low cost, but we lost quality. We lost quality. We lost American made. That's a big loss. I'm sorry. That's a huge loss. The fact that everything is made in China or wherever else, I think it's great that it's collaborations among other countries, but there's something sad to be said of the fact that America doesn't produce a whole lot of shit. It just, maybe it does on a grand scale, energy, supplies, this and that, but they buy a lot of stuff. They buy a lot of food from Europe. They buy a lot of shit from overseas. You can call the U.S. the biggest collaborator on the planet, I guess you could call them. But it's sad. It's sad that we don't, and it's actually very honorable when you see on the label, made in America, made in the U.S. There's something honorable about that. It's like, oh, our people made this. Our people made this, we're supporting our people. I think it's great to support people around the world, but can we support people here too? Which we do. We're allowed to create products here. No one's saying you're not allowed, but let's face it. It's almost like factories have to really be innovative to keep costs low, and 3D printing did that. 3D printing revolutionized economics. You have artists who are making money off the stuff they print from 3D. You can print guns 3D. That's crazy. You can print anything 3D. You can print houses with a giant ass 3D printer machine. Let's talk about solar roads. Why isn't anybody fabricating solar panel roads? This was invented over a decade ago. A mad scientist created solar panel roads for vehicles to drive on. Yes, they would need maintenance every now and then. But if you change every concrete road every pavement to be a surface that is actually producing energy, that would be revolutionary. If you change all the roads, every single road in the United States to be a solar panel road, not all of them, but some parts here and there, parts of the city or areas that get a lot of sun, that would be the issue, right? You can't have these solar panel roads in cities because they're not getting any sunlight. But if you have them out in the open, where they're constantly out, country, you fill the country with some of these solar panel roads, you're creating a lot of energy for a lot of people who are out there. In cases of storms, when there's a storm shortage or something and there's people without power, well, you got solar panel roads. You're not going to have any issues. Nighttime, yeah, of course, nighttime, they don't get anything, but during those days, during those sunny days, they produce a lot of power. You can store that power. Solar panel roads, dude, I'm telling you. That's the way to go. That's the way to pave the future. You want to pave the future with solar panel roads. I'm telling you, it would revolutionize the way we do everything. The way we do it, just change that little fact. Get rid of the purple lights. The stupid fucking purple lights are. I don't know why they're adding. I know why they're adding purple lights. You know why they're adding purple lights? Because that UV light is so bad for you. It's so toxic, and in my opinion, we're all like plants. We're all organic, right? You give organic material the right situation, the right sunlight, the right nutrients, they will grow. They'll grow to a very full life. And in my opinion, I think cities don't like it when you grow old. They don't like it. So they do stuff like COVID to get rid of old people. They do a lot of shit to get rid of old people. They, in my opinion, age is just your genetics being so toxic that they get fucked up and you age. All the shit they put in the food, all the shit they put in the air, all the frequencies they put out there, it's all toxic for you. It's to keep you from growing. That's just an opinion. That's just an opinion that I have. You don't have to agree. Warriors Bloodline. Hopefully, Bumblebee's on high. They already had one AI try to program codes to keep itself from being shut down. Yeah. There was they caught a robot lashing out. And I don't know if it's lashing out or it's just the computer programming to make it look like it's lashing out. Because the fact is, this robot is to help maintain crowd ordinance, right? So that robot's there, and there's a crowd member out of control. That robot's going to do its job, but it did its job too fiercely, and it looks like it's lashing out, right? So we got to be careful into these situations because I haven't really seen a robot lash out, like for reals lash out, but it can be totally viewed as being lashed out when all it is just a computer programming failure. It's not that it's a failure. It's just that the computer programming, it's just operating. It's just operating on that programming. It doesn't know any better. It doesn't have morals. It doesn't have anything. It's just a tool. And tools, as you know, can hurt people, if you're not careful. So again, I don't think it's just a robot coming sentient and lashing out. No, it's just a malfunction of the tool. And I still see AI as a tool. I still see robots as tools. Anybody who can tap into those tools to use for nefarious reasons can do it. Does that mean that the robot is alive? No, it doesn't mean it's alive. It just means that it has so many computer programs running, so many systems, it appears to be alive. A robot can't produce soul. You can create enough systems, and that's the argument, right? The argument is, well, what about the human body? Is the human body any different than a robot? I mean, we have a bunch of systems that make us feel alive. We have the ability to think and produce images in our head. If you program a robot to have images in their head, to produce images, to have the capability to produce any image, not just, oh, we program you to do this image. No, you can take any image and recreate it, and you can think about the image yourself. That is when I go, oh, I think you're tapping into something that's very close to consciousness. But I don't think that it is. It's just it's a replication of trying to be something that it can never be. It can never be human. A robot can never be human. You cannot, unless they figure out how to take a soul from a body and put it in the robot. You can't just magically produce a soul in a robot. You can't. It's some people say, well, what about demons? What about demons or aliens that are going to hack into the system? Or I don't know. I don't know how real that is. I mean, are demons even real? Are aliens even real? Like at the end of the day, it's just, you could say that when you choose the path of evil, then yes, there's some kind of demonic possession, but it's a metaphor. You're not really possessed. You're just insane. You've lost it. You're insane. And when you get to that point, who knows what you're capable of? Who knows? You're capable of anything. You can kill anybody. Even right now, you innocent, without having an ill towards anyone, you could still accidentally kill somebody. It doesn't mean that you're safe. The world is so crazy like that. The world is crazy like that. Nobody is safe from death. You can be as perfect as a saint. It doesn't mean that you're guaranteed a safe life. Your probability of having a good life goes up, but it doesn't mean anything. Anything could happen like this, and it could ruin your life. And you had no bad intention, nothing. Warrior Bloodline, which I gotta say, I'm becoming a big fan of you, man. I'm becoming a big fan. I worked for a Japanese car company. See, that's huge. That's impressive. Car company, and some techs would treat the robot like they have a soul. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that the creators are treating their own Frankensteins like children. Yeah. 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 It doesn't surprise me. Thanks for telling me that, by the way. Because that doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me. And of course, they're getting tons of money to do these things. And of course, who's pushing it? It's not the people. It's corporations. It's people in power, because they want this stuff. People aren't asking for it. I don't think people are asking for robots. They're not asking for AI. They've never asked for this once. It's all the scientists. It's all the engineers who are basically, through good intentions, leading us to a path that could be seriously damaging to the human race. Do they think about stuff like that? I don't know. I don't think they do. I think they're just worried about their careers, their legacy. Their legacy is they help create robots. That's a big legacy to have. I think there's very few people who are sounding the alarm. Like, hey, maybe we should put a pause to this stuff. Like, what's really happening? Like, what's it all building towards? Are we allowed to ask these questions? Are we allowed to put a pause on this stuff? The fact is, you're not. You're not allowed to put a pause on anything. Your voices will not be heard because corporations are pushing it. In my mind, it's like, well, yeah, it might increase our likelihood of being freed up in life, right? You have all these jobs that corporations no longer have to pay for, which means you no longer have a job. So it means you have more time to do stuff like me. So we're going to end up with a human race where everyone's just like me. That's not good. We don't want that. We want people working. It's not that I don't work. It's just that, I don't know, I'm either too awake or something that informs me not to waste my time in certain ways. There's certain things in life I go, oh, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of my time. It may not be for you, but for me it is. And everyone's different. And I'm not somebody, I may not go work for a boss, but I'm pretty much my own boss. I work for myself, and that's always what I've always been like that. I've never been a good brown noser. I can be a good servant when I choose to be, but if I'm being that towards someone that I don't respect, I don't like, that treats me like shit, then that goes out the window. Goodbye. I'm not going to devalue myself for somebody else, That's cool, though, that you worked for a Japanese car company. That's really impressive, I'm always impressed by by people's jobs because I've always been an artist. So I'm impressed by how far people can go. I'm nobody, man. I'm just a really friendly guy who is willing to speak up when people shit on me, you know. That's about it. I'm very like down to earth. I'm really down to earth. I truly, you know, truly down to earth. And I try to wake up every day. I go, you know, let's be on the ground today. Let's not be in some imaginative world. Let's come down back down to the ground. It's good to be in an imaginative world, but it's good to come back to the reality, right? Of things. It's been a good chat, huh? It's been fun. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have I don't go on here prepared. I just whatever comes to mind, you know. It's pretty strange. I think it's strange that a lot of you are awake right now. What are you doing awake? You should be sleeping right now. I have trouble sleeping, believe it or not. I don't know if it's my bed or what. I have trouble. I get like 3 hours of sleep. I wake up, go back to bed for 3 hours. Then I start my day. It's probably the most unhealthy thing going on for myself, but I've tried so many different things besides taking like a supplement. I'm not taking supplements to go to sleep. I'm not going to be that person. So I'm just figuring out what I can do. I think a lot of it is probably has to do with smoking, but I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the bed that I have. It's just horrible. It's just a horrible bed. It's just, I want to be honest. It's a horrible bed. I literally have to place pillows to sleep on top of the bed, or else it's just uncomfortable. And even so, I bet that's doing something bad to my back. Just can't say. I'll even like get rid of electronics. I'll get rid of, make sure the room's dark and everything. And it still doesn't work. It's crazy. I just don't get it. There's something I'm doing in my life that's throwing off my sleep, and I don't know what it is. You know, I've actually tried too to just force myself to go to sleep, and it doesn't work. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, because it's kind of killing me. It's kind of slowly killing me. You know, but I gotta figure out how to get a good solid like 8 hours of sleep. You know, I gotta figure out how to do that without taking supplements. And I would smoke before I go to bed. But maybe I should try smoking indica, because I smoke sativa. So maybe that's probably the reason. I smoke a lot of sativa. So maybe if I smoke indica at night, maybe that'll help. Well, I hope you guys are, you know, getting ready to start your day. What time is it? What time is it? Indica. That's it, huh? That's it, right? I knew it. I knew it. That's the thing. I gotta do that. Yeah, I gotta do that. Yeah. I'll try that today. I'm finishing my book today. I've been writing a book. I kind of cheated when I wrote it. And here's what I mean how I cheated. It's not really cheating. I just made my life easier. Essentially, the book is a collection of panels that I had at film festivals. I put on film festivals, and I invited guests to come out and speak. And I recorded all the talks. And so all I did was transcribe all the talks from all these, you know, real players in the industry. And there's a lot of insightful stuff. We talk about AI, we talk about, you know, independent filmmaking, we talk about the status of independent filmmaking here in Tulsa, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of people don't even care, but at least for some Tulsans, they'll care. And Tulsa is becoming a film hub, a real true film hub, ever since Killers of the Flower Moon came here. There's been a spike in interest, like bigger companies wanting to come here and do stuff, bigger names and all that. You know, they come to Tulsa and they go, it's funny to me because they come to Tulsa and they go, you guys don't know what you have here. Like some fucking morons. Like we didn't know what we had here. Go fuck yourselves. You come here and talk down to us. Go fuck yourselves. We've been making films here longer than you showing up here and telling us that we don't know what we have. We know what we have. It's people like you who keep shitting on us, keep talking down to us, and keep, you know, you keep pampering yourself. You guys don't know what you have here. Go fuck yourself, Ethan Hawke. Maybe it was you who didn't know what existed here, you know, and it's you that's just now figuring it out. But the truth is, Ethan Hawke, you're still part of that system that shits on little filmmakers. So how can I be happy about anything you do? How can I be happy about you participating with somebody here in Tulsa who all they do is shit on other local filmmakers? I can't be a part of that. I'm sorry. I don't care how famous you are. I'm not going to like be blinded by your fame and then throw all kindness out the window. That's all that happens in Tulsa. You got these big names come in here. You don't know what you have here. Go fuck yourself. You don't know what was here long before you showed up. First of all, you know, don't act like you discovered it. It's been discovered. Tulsa is an amazing place to shoot movies. It's got awesome cinematic views of the city, things like that, that are just popping, right? Popping. And I've been in different cities. Some cities have their own poppin' style for cinematic, and others don't. They have a really shitty, like it just doesn't, you know, unless you're writing a story that's based in that city, there's no reason to shoot in that city because it doesn't have that cinematic feel that, like, you know what I'm saying, that makes your movie. You know, some places are just, they're not pretty. And unless you want that in your movie. But Tulsa has something special to it. You know, there's something special to it. It's still a pretty clean, decent city, you know, and it has these alleyways that are pretty, you know, like alleyways, you know, they're very cinematic. We had movies shot here. Francis Ford Coppola, you know, back in the day, he made use of that cinematic landscape that exists here. You know, you look at his movies, you know, they look cinematic. Of course, there's you have to have an eye for these things, but you know, it's already there. You just, as an artist, you just take advantage of it. And Francis Ford Coppola did. He's one of the first filmmakers to take advantage of Tulsa in that way. You know, and there's a museum now here. And obviously, he's done movies that are well known, but you know, us filmmakers like me who've been here for like 20 years, longer than me, making movies, you know, and all you guys do is shit on them. So you come here with you guys don't know what you have. We've collectively, we have over 20 movies. Don't tell us, we don't know what we have. You fucking douche. You fucking douche. Douche and a half. By the way, me and Ethan Hawke have basically the same tattoo in our arm. We're tattoo twins, by the way. He's got a Scorpio. I think he's a Scorpio. But anyways, don't come down here with your condescending shit. You know, you don't know what you have. Go fuck yourself, you fucking douche. Yeah, I like David. Actually, I like David Lynch. I like David Lynch for the fact that he's not one of those people, as far as I know. But you know, I consider him what I consider myself to be an indie auteur, a real artist. We're not people who we hire and they make the movie for us and we take all the credit. You know, that's that Hollywood system. You know, and once I became aware of it, I lost a lot of respect for a lot of people who consider themselves directors and this, and all they do is just literally show up. Everybody does everything else for them. They just say yes. They show up. They have a name, a famous name that people can get behind. But don't give me the shit that they're directors. Don't give me that shit. They're not. They're just, I don't know what they are. It's a corporation. You know, you're part of a corporation now. You took filmmaking to a corporate level, and it lost its rawness. It's lost its real connection with the artist to the project. You know, now everybody has a say. Everybody, you know, is the movie truly theirs? No, it's not. It's not. It's everybody who worked on it. You know, it's not really yours. To say that one guy gets all the credit, one director, that's bullshit. It's bullshit because they make decisions, but there's already tons of people making decisions for them. So can you really call it yours? Can you really call yourself a director at that point? I don't know. I think it's, you lost it. You're part of a corporation. You're no longer a director. You're just a brand name, you know, who just shows up because it gets everybody working. You know, maybe back in the day he was a real director, you know, but now, no, he's just an old guy who shows up and he's got a brand name and everybody works because of that, you know. Yeah, and that's what happens, I guess, as a filmmaker. When you retire, you can only hope to be a brand name that people surround themselves with, and they make the movie for you, and you take all the credit, right? That's like the best retirement plan for a filmmaker. Um, but you know, when you look at the real filmmakers who actually do the producing, who write it, who actually shoot it and actually edit it, like back in the day when George Lucas would edit his own movies, when directors edited their own movies and shit, you know, now you don't have that anymore. You have collaborations, which is great, but you lose. You're no longer an indie auteur. You can call yourself a director, but you're no longer an indie auteur. You are a corporate brand name for other people to find jobs, you know. And the film community is very serious about that. If you don't bring jobs to the crews and communities, you're not a real filmmaker. That's how they treat you. They treat you as though you're garbage, like they treat me. I make films without huge amounts of money. They're not Hollywood, but they're authentic. It's got my voice, it's got my message, it's got, you know, my philosophy behind life. All my movies, if you watch them, they all have something to say. It's not just entertainment, you know, and it's all done with thought. It's all done with serious planning. Movies take a lot of planning. Yes, you can have a whole army behind a movie, right? You can have billions of dollars, but you're no longer an indie auteur. You lost any connection to your movie at that point. Your connection is to the company, not to the project. You know, it's whatever the companies want. If they want to add this amount of propaganda in the movie, they'll add that amount of propaganda because you have no voice as a director. You have no voice as an actor, as a director, nothing. You just toe the line, you provide jobs for everybody, you keep it pushing, and the movies come out, right? It's a huge system. It's a huge system. You know, I may be a little radical with my ideas. Sure, yes, they're directors, yes, but in my opinion, they're not truly indie auteur anymore. They're just part of the machine. The machine is the true artist at that point. The machine is the artist, not the individual, not the artist. So that's why I like to stay individual. I like to stay separate from major corporate movies because it loses voice. It loses real artistry. All you see that Hollywood produces is the same shit over and over and over. There's no artistry. It's the same shit over and over because they know they can do that. They know they can do that and put it out there. When I see movies that lack storytelling in the shots, I go, wow, this is, whoever worked on this is probably the fucking shittiest camera guy on the planet. Yes, he knows how to operate it. He knows how to take orders, but can he be creative with it? Can he tell a story with it? In most cases, no. I watch movies that have the same shot over and over and over. The repetition of the shots show me that there was no planning behind the fucking storytelling. You know, it's just, let's just show up and shoot it. And they stick to the coverage. They don't know how to pre-design a shot like somebody like Scorsese or Spielberg. They don't know how to do that stuff because a majority of people don't know cinema. They don't know. They work it, but do they actually know it? Do they know? Can they speak the language of cinema? In most cases, no, they don't understand it. If they don't understand it, how can they create it? They create it because they know how to run the camera. They have the position. But if you took that same guy to make a movie, he has no idea how to make a fucking movie. You take me, I know how to make a movie. I know how to make a movie without connections, without gear even. I have zero gear. You know what I do? I find people with the gear. I collaborate with them. I team up with them, but it's still my say-so. It's still my say-so unless we talked about specifically, hey, I'm giving you free range to come up with some creative ideas, creative shots, which is most cases I'm not open to people. Certain people that I trust that I've worked with in the past, people like Bob Dodd, who I would trust, you know, completely on set. And with my new experience, you got his experience and my experience, whole new level of filmmaking. I'm considering Stray Kids 2 whenever I finish my animation project. I finish my animation project, I'll see how that does, but I really want to go back to movie making and do Stray Kids 2, part 2. And actually do it on my own, but do it SAG. So to be on my own, but also SAG. That's going to be tricky. That's going to be very difficult, but doable. I I've been training myself. I've been pushing myself to be more productive so that later in the future, I have the habits and the skills to sit down and focus down and hone in on a real SAG movie, you know, because all my movies are not SAG. They're not union. They're not anything. They're just movies that I plan out and make, right? There's no guarantee that it'll get out there, but I do everything in my power to get them screened in movie theaters all the time. I've had 4 movies played in movie theaters. So it's not impossible to go outside of the Hollywood system, outside of many systems. And YouTube is really the greatest thing that could ever happen to a filmmaker that is outside of the system. Because now, if I really wanted to and hone in, I can create movies and just solely only, the only where you can find my movies are on my channel or website or the theater that I choose specifically. You know, it makes it more unique. And I have that going for myself. I've had sold out events because of that, because of the uniqueness that I bring to the table. Nowhere can you find, it's very rare to find local filmmakers who are consistently producing feature movies and putting them out there. And there's this one cat who's really good at it, who I'm very impressed by, Mickey Reese. Mickey Reese is a guy I'm really impressed by. I have nothing bad to say about him. I consider him a legit artist, legit filmmaker. He does innovative stuff to storytelling. That is truly being a director. That is truly being an indie auteur. I give him props because he is legit. He is legit. You know, he is legit, and I see him improving, which is another thing a filmmaker should always do: is improve. But he's been doing it right. I think he works for an oil company, so I think he's getting money from that, but which is great. He's able to finance his own way. He's able to get some of his own money teamed up with other people's money, and next thing you know, he's got a better produced movie. You know, great way to go about it. Unfortunate for me, or you could say fortunate, because I have to be a little bit more clever how I go about my money. Because I've always made my money with $0. $0. Okay, $0. The most I've spent on a movie was Stray Kids, and 3,000 of that was just for the music. So original music, which I was happy to get, because that's always the problem, right? You can't have a movie with copyright music, and there's such a seduction to be like, oh, let me just buy that music and have it in my movie. But then you have to keep buying it, right, throughout the years to be able to use it. So I wanted to get away from that and be like, let's just have original music. Let's pay whatever fee we need to, 3,000. Okay, that was quite a bit. I had the money back then, and I spent it. I spent it on the music, and now I don't have to worry about copyright issues, you know. But yeah, that's the most I spent on a movie was 5,000, because the 2,000 that I spent on it was stuff that I needed during production, right? But I've kept it really low. I use a lot of the same techniques they use in Hollywood. I mean, the movie is no different than any movie you see. The only difference is it was made by a real artist, you know, and I had real say on everything. You know, it wasn't just something that was handed to me, you know. I really had to push it and create it and do all these things myself, you know, and it was tough. Because some people, because they were volunteering, there was days where I had, you know, on the big days when I needed a lot of people, they would show up, because I was really good at planning and organizing and getting people to show up. But there was days where it was like, I would shoot a scene, and it was literally my mom holding the boom mic, you know, things like that. It's, you know, even Scorsese talks about that. Scorsese talks about early in his days how, you know, he would use his parents to help him out, and it's true. You just find help wherever you can, you know. And my parents were a huge part of that, you know. That's no lie. I can't even pretend that it didn't happen. You know, my parents were a huge help. You know, they create a space for me to pursue my projects. You know, that's not, a lot of parents wouldn't do that, you know. We got some texts. We got some comments. Let's go. Oh, Hybrids. Yeah, I'll try hybrids. Billy Ray Willard. Indica equals body high, heavy body. Sativa. A head high will keep you stimulated. Very worded. I mean, just you worded that so nicely. You know, you're 100%. Yeah, I like David Lynch. Do you enjoy John Waters, the musician? Talking about the musician, John Waters. Why does that ring a bell? You look like you're hurt and broken. Is that true? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I talk about that all the time. How in around November of last year, I hit my lowest low. I mean, I was heartbroken. I lost my jobs. I had jobs, and I lost them because of rumors that people were spreading. And I was saying some shit, but it's no reason to lose a job over that, in my opinion. I think people just saw the rumors, fed into it, and were like, "Oh, he's a bad person. You know, don't work with him." But the getting banned from Circle Cinema, getting pretty much kicked out of a coffee shop where I did 3 times a month. I would screen shorts for the public that were made by local, and people loved it. People loved that. You know, it was the filmmakers who didn't like it because the filmmakers eventually saw that I was getting a lot of credit for what I was doing, and they saw it as me using them instead of me helping them out. Somehow they got their things all twisted, and you had filmmakers come out in rows like, you know, we don't want to be a part of this, you know, we don't want to help you. And here's the thing, it's like, well, if you don't want to create a win-win, I get it, but you're being an asshole because I'm literally propping you up. I'm screening, I'm going out of my way to set up a screen, a speaker, popcorn, free popcorn for people. I even had candy for sale. A setup every time I went. I had to set up and tear down, right? Nobody helping me, no filmmakers helped me, even though I asked politely, if you guys can help me, that'd be great. They never helped. They never showed up. Never even showed up to their own screenings. That's how pathetic these filmmakers are, you know. And then they get angry at me for taking advantage of them. I'm not taking advantage, okay? You have no idea how much hard work goes into this shit, okay? You have no idea how much fucking hard work went into this shit. And to spit on it because I'm doing it, go fuck yourselves, all right? You filmmakers here that are fucking douchebags, go fuck yourself because you're a fucking douchebag and I'm calling you out for the way you guys treated me. I did nothing wrong and they fucking gain up on me and fucking spread rumors more, I'm sure. Talk more shit about me, I'm sure, and it got me kicked out of Gypsy, you know, and it got me kicked out of Circle Cinema. Never said that I wanted to trash Circle. I said the way they're treating me, that whole fucking building should just burn down to the ground. The way they're treating me is disgusting. It's just horrible. That's what I said, and people took that as a threat. They took it as burn down the No, never did I once say I was going to go burn it. I said it deserves the fucking ground. You know, and they're like, oh, he's so violent. They sent the cops to my house. They fucking send the FBI to my house. No, dude. No, bro. I did nothing wrong. It's called free speech, you know, motherfuckers. Once you learn something, you know, stop pretending that like whatever political morality is out there is the law. No, I'm sorry. It's not law. I'm allowed to speak up when people are being shitty towards me. You know, I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm sorry that you don't like it. Well, I don't like being treated like shit. How about that? You know? And I'm over here packing out, selling out places, and Circle Cinema is like, well, why don't you prove to us first that you can do this? You know, I spent a year proving it to their faces that I could organize table reads, I can sell out screenings, and what do? They literally fucking pick somebody else. They pick somebody else who's a brand name. Again, the brand name will get you further than actual talent. That's the truth. If you got a brand name, that will get you further than actual talent. You could be the most talentless person on the planet, but if you got a brand name, you're going to get the movie part. You're going to get everything. It doesn't matter if you're a talentless hack. Doesn't matter. You got the brand name. Now, you might be somewhat good, okay, average. You might be able to get by. I mean, TV, Hollywood, it's just flooded with average talent, you know, and they actually get far because they have a look. You know, they have a look. They have a look, they have the agent, and they get far. But then people watch them and go, that's a shitty actor. And then they go nowhere. It's Hollywood is completely inundated with how you look like. It doesn't matter what you have in here and what you have in here. All they care about is, do you look the part? If you look the part, you got it. You got a brand name, you got it. They don't care about talent. They could care less about talent. They could care less about talent. Trust me, there are a lot of people in theater, on stage, who are a lot more talented than Leo and all these other people. Trust me, a lot more talented, and they don't get shit. They don't get shit. They don't have the brand name. They don't have the agent, the manager. You know, that's their fault. That's their own fault for not having a manager and agent. Yeah. And I'm not ragging on Leo just because to rag on him. He did the work. He did the work. He made it. He got an agent. He made TV at a young age. He blew up. He did it right. But even he talks about this. He talks about how he's like, man, I feel bad because there's so many more talented people out there, and they don't get it. They don't get the shot because of how the Hollywood system works. You know, how many directors have I gone to and they tell me the same thing over and over? I might be the most talented actor, but I go to them and they go, oh, well, it's something you need to start when you're young, when you're little. Like, no, you don't. Like, shut the fuck up. All right. First of all, shut the fuck up. Because first of all, I've been doing this for a very long time, since I was little. So shut the fuck up. Number two, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's plenty of actors who have made it late into their 30s, late in their 40s. So don't give me this shit that, oh, it's too late because you didn't start when you were young. Go fuck yourselves, okay? Go fuck yourselves with this stupid mentality people have that want to like pin you down. You know, George, what's his name? The guy who plays George Costanza. You know what he talks about? He talks about how shitty people were towards him, even though he's an amazing actor. The reason why they said no to him all the time was because, oh, people are going to think you're George. And here we have this amazing actor who can literally play 17 different people on stage. And you got a whole industry saying, we're going to shit on you because we think that everybody's going to think that we're just watching George, which is bullshit. How many times we watch an actor and all we're watching is that actor? We're not watching a version of that. We're watching Adam Sandler be Adam Sandler. We're watching Jim Carrey be Jim Carrey. You know what I mean? So to give this actor shit all his life, fucking put him down, take away job opportunities because you think the audience is going to think he's just George, go fuck you. He should have said, go fuck yourselves. It's the stupidest thing you could say to an artist who is extremely talented, who can play many different versions of himself, different personalities, and you tell him that, oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to put you in this movie because everyone's going to think you're George. Go fuck yourself. What stupid mentality is that? And that happens in Hollywood. They will pigeonhole you down on a character because they think that's what people want to see. They think they know. The number one rule in Hollywood is nobody actually fucking knows anything. So if somebody comes at you with this bullshit, oh, we think this, no, you correct them. You say, no, you're missing out on the whole point of this. You're missing out the fact that I'm a super talented actor, that I can bring you a whole different personality and make that character shine. What you're worried about is a brand name and how it looks. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. You don't understand movie making. You don't understand actors, apparently, you know. If you think I don't understand, they're going to think of you as that character. But if the second you go up and you're different from that character, audiences are going to go, oh, wow, he's doing something new. They're not going to go, what's George doing? No, they're going to go, hey, it's that actor. He's in something else. Great. I've been wanting to see him in something else, but for some reason we don't see him in anything, which is the case with that actor who plays George. My whole life, I'm like, where is he in movies? I'm waiting to see him in movies. He's such an amazing actor. Where is he? He's so famous. He's a brand name. I mean, I know his name. For some reason, I can't think of it. But there's a lot of actors I don't know their names. So don't give me this crap that just because I don't know his name, he's not going to be a good actor for the movie. That's bullshit, you know? You know, allow us to discover a side of that actor that we haven't discovered yet. Why are you going to fucking hold him back? That's all you're doing, is holding somebody who's super talented away from the audience. That's what you did. You kept people away from receiving joy from an actor that actually produces joy in other people. That's what you did. You fucked over George Costanza with the actor. Hollywood did. Hollywood pretty much fucked over that actor, and they keep fucking over actors with that same mentality. Oh, you know, the audience, they're just not going to think of you as different from the character that they saw you in. Fuck off. Fuck off with that bullshit mentality. It's the stupidest. You know what it is? It's an excuse. It's just an excuse they made up so they can pick the actor they want. In my opinion, that's all it is. Just an excuse they throw. And when they don't want you, they'll throw every excuse in the book, you know, to not pick you. They'll pick somebody else, because that's, if they want somebody, they want somebody. There's nothing you can do about it. That's it. You know, it doesn't matter if you're on the biggest show of the 90s. You know, all these actors should have blown up. They should have blown up, but they didn't, because of that stupid mentality that people have. They're not going to see you as anything else but Kramer, which is false. Anytime I saw a movie that had that actor, Michael Richards, in it, I wasn't like, oh, I'm watching Kramer. No, I would get sucked into the story because they're good actors. They're good actors that get you sucked into the story. You don't worry about, oh, I'm watching Kramer. Who thought of that? It's so stupid. So stupid. Yes, for a few seconds, you're going to think that's Kramer. Oh, look, it's Kramer. For a few seconds, the very first few seconds, you see that actor for the first time out of that show, you're going to go, oh, that's Kramer. But you're so sucked into the story, it doesn't matter. It goes away. And that's what producers don't understand. They fucking limit actors. They put up all these excuses. And it pisses me off because I'm an actor. And I see it all the fucking time. I haven't experienced it, but I see it all the time. People get picked because of their looks, not on their talent. They get picked because they have the agent and this and that in order. That's fine. But they don't have the talent. They barely have talent, you know? And then they scratch their heads wondering, why is my career not taking off? Sure, you have an agent and a manager, but your talent sucks. A lot of these actors that are replaced suck ass. They're so shitty actors. A lot of them can't even do stage. They can't even perform stage. That's how bad they are as actors. You know? Oh, it's differently. Yeah, it's different, but you're still doing the same thing. You're acting. You're just changing the nuances from stage acting to movie acting, TV acting. It's not hard. All these douchebags who talk about how hard it is, it's not hard. If you can act on stage, you can act on TV. All you're doing is changing the nuances. You know, stage, you have to be big. Film, you can be big by being small. You know, it's not difficult to understand. Then you have Ethan Hawke saying, oh, it's so difficult. It's one of the hardest things an actor can do. Here I am doing it, you fucking douche. If it's so hard for you to do it, then maybe step down and let talented actors actually do their jobs. How about that? Instead, no, you got to milk it for all it's worth, right? And you got to cut other actors out. You don't allow other actors in. You're not allowing other actors in. You're not. You're not. This system does not allow for other actors to come in. It doesn't. It doesn't. You have to have a brand name. If you don't have a brand name, you can have all the training, you can be the most talented person on the planet. They will not pick you. They will pick the person with the brand name. They will pick the person with the most views on YouTube. That's why I'm on YouTube. Why do you think I'm on YouTube? I'm going to grow a giant ass following to the point where it'd be really fucking stupid for a producer to be like, no, we don't want you. We want this other cat. Really? You're going to pick the other cat who doesn't bring any views at all? Okay. Okay. If you're an actor, YouTube is your lifeline. YouTube is now your lifeline. It's your proof in the pudding. You know? It's no longer, oh, you have a manager in this, because everybody has that now. The real proof in the pudding now is, do you have a YouTube channel with a lot of subscribers, a lot of views? That's what people look at now. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. People are putting YouTubers in their independent movies. Why? Because they built up a brand name for themselves. You know, it's the new way to build a brand name for yourself is YouTubing. Comedians do it all the time. The biggest comedians I see today are not the people that are out touring and doing shows. The biggest musicians I see are not the ones touring and doing shows. They're the ones that have content. Content is king. If you got content as an artist, you are doing it right. If you have zero content and you're just relying on doing shows, you're just fucking yourself over. You're fucking yourself over immensely, and you don't even know. You don't even know how bad you're fucking yourself over by doing that. You're setting yourself up for failure because you're going into a show where nobody knows you and nobody likes you, And if you suck, you know, that's bad. It's going to make you look worse than anything. If people already love you and they're going into the show already loving you, the chances of you, even if you suck, they're still going to love you. You see how why content is king? Why it creates the love that a lot of artists are seeking? They're not seeking fame, they're seeking love. You know, they don't understand that they're actually seeking love. And in most cases, the majority of people who are famous are actually seeking a lot of love. They have a psychological part of them that's just seeking love. It's never enough. Plus, they get addicted. They get addicted to the love they get from masses of people. It's an addiction that you only get as an artist when you get to that point. And people miss it. When you see an artist not getting attention from people, the love that they crave, they are depressed. They are down on themselves because they don't get it. They don't get that they should just love themselves, and that's enough. They have to do all this to receive all the love, you know. And so that's a whole different question, different topic. But anyways, but you know, people love power, people love fame, people love that stuff, so they go for it. Yeah, so I going back to that comment, you look broken, sad, whatever. Yeah, I was depressed in November. I was broken in November, brokenhearted, everything broken. And I went into a like psychosis. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I was completely outside of myself. I lost control of myself. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. And little by little, I was just healing myself by watching a lot of movies, you know, getting myself out of my head, resting a lot. And then from resting a lot, I started, you know, after resting a lot, I finally got the nerve to actually start doing stuff, you know, little stuff. And then the little stuff became big stuff and so on and so on. And eventually I was thinking to myself and doing these like journals, these vlogs, and, you know, you get to see yourself, you get to watch yourself, and you get to analyze, you know, what's going on here. And so I've been doing a lot of analyzation about where I'm at in life, my behaviors, and because I felt weak in a lot of areas in my life, I picked up a book on that area of life and would read it by experts. And it came to be that during my low, broken, depressed time, I spent that time reading those books. I read overall, I read 21 books, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to read 21 books. I was just like, I would finish a book and go, okay, I see how this is helping me. It's enlightening me to certain things that were weak in my life. That was great. Let's do it again. So I would pick a different topic, read it by an expert. It would fill me up with enlightenment, and I would move on, and so on and so on. And I would do these live. I would read books live because I wanted to show people that I was doing the work on myself, and that I wanted to show people that I was actually reading these books. And so by reading it out loud, I was doing something else. I was not just reading it, but because I'm reading out loud, it's like I'm registering it even more, right? I register it, the information I'm talking about, it's actually getting in there more. And when you talk about it, it goes in there more, you know? And so I would do these things. I would talk about the book and what the experts were saying, and I would reflect that back into my life. And after 21 books, I stopped reading because I felt like I was coming out of my hole. You know, I was only reading because I was depressed and I felt like I was weak in a lot. I'm still weak in a lot of areas that I'm gonna pick up a book, sit down, read it, and hopefully be enlightened by it and move forward. There's books on YouTube I want to read. There's books on there's a couple of books on movie making I want to read, like on like the SAG level of movie making, you know, and all I gotta do is read it and it goes in and it stays. It doesn't go anywhere. Like all the stuff I read really stays in there. I make notes. I highlight important passages. I write page numbers that could be a good reference for later. I'll go check on it. You know, I flip through and I go, why did I write this down? I look up the number. I look it up. I go, oh yeah, that's really important. So I reference everything down. I write everything down so I have a reference to it later. So all my books have reference numbers on them, and I have like a library of like 500 plus books that I've read over the years. Anyway, day is breaking. day is breaking, and I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it a vlog. I've never done a 2 hour and 30-minute vlog. Wow, that's the longest I've done one. I mean, I've been live for a long time, like reading a book. I read a book for like 12 hours straight once, you know, but going live like this for 2 hours and a half is, how do I even do that? Anyways, I appreciate everybody who stopped by, who commented. It always makes it funner for me and for everyone else. You know, having a dialogue and changing up the subject matter helps out a lot. Anyways, I'm out, and I'll probably tune in again tomorrow around the same time. I have a weird sleeping schedule right now, and yeah, I'm working some stuff. I'm finishing my book today, hopefully. Here in a few days, I'm gonna go live to do 2 paintings of celebrities that I'm gonna go out and see if I can meet them with the paintings and get them signed. It's not a guarantee that it hasn't worked every time. I've done paintings and gone to events and totally shut down, you know, but there's other events I go to, and these celebrities actually, the managers go, you know, this is pretty cool. Let me talk to the guy or the gal and see what they say. And usually the actors would go, yeah, let's take a look at the artwork. I started doing something new. I started painting a smaller version for the celebrity to keep. So I have a big version they sign and a small version they get to keep, an exact replica. And the reason why I started doing that was because of Hulk. I remember going to Hulk, and he was here in town promoting his beer, and I did a painting, and I did the one painting, and I went to it to take it, and the manager looked at it and was like, yeah, we want you to take this up to him for sure. And his eyes lit up. You know, he was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Like I like this. I like this a lot, brother. He's like, you want me to sign this, brother? And I was like, yeah. I was too scared to ask, to be honest. I was too scared. It was enough for me to just show up with a painting, right? That I did my part, but to be like, can you sign this for me? I don't know. I just was hoping that he would be like, I'll sign this for you. And he did. He was like, I'll sign this for you. He's like, you want a picture? I was like, yeah, I want a picture. I didn't ask. I was just there with holding the painting. It was like, I love you. You're amazing. Here's a painting that's going to go up on a wall in the movie theater, you know, forever. He's like, really? This is cool. He's like, yeah. He's like, you want me to sign it? He was a gentle giant. He was a gentle giant, at least at his older age. Really nice guy. I could feel his aura, his vibe. I could tell he was working really hard. I feel like he was a overworked champion, if you will. He was totally overworked, in my opinion. I could see it in his eyes how tired he was and stuff. But it lit up as soon as I showed him the painting. He totally lit up. He became alive. You know, he was just there, like, you know, people would show up. He would take a picture. Like, he was just dead. He was dead. He would take a picture, and I show up, and he's like, you know, he became active and alive. It was a good feeling that I was able to bring this to somebody who eventually passes away and this and that. I feel like I brought him a little joy in his life, you know, even if it's just for a few seconds. I was able to bring him joy. You know, I will never forget his face. He went from like being a zombie to being alive like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what the magic of the painting does. And I like bringing that feeling to celebrities. I think they get tired of signing autographs and over and meeting people over and over and having to show up to events to promote something over and over. It's sickening, you know. It has a toll on your soul, on your life. So I wanted to be like, you know, he's in town. I have this opportunity to bring happiness for a few seconds to a celebrity who, you know, if you can bring happiness to a celebrity, you know, that's such a rare thing, you know, a very rare thing to be able to do that. So that's partly is why I do it, because I realize how hard their lives are. I don't think people realize how hard their lives are, the work they do, the amount of work, the shit they have to live through. A lot of people talking shit about them, you know, they have to live through all that. It's tough. And then, like, if you're not working, people talk shit about you because you're not working. You're washed up, you know. Oh, Everywhere, anybody, anytime is going to find a reason to degrade you. It's up to you whether you agree or not. I totally disagree with all the bad shit people talk about me. You know, there's some people who agree and they find themselves depressed, right? Which is where I was. November. I think I was agreeing with the people in the sense that, not that I was agreeing, but when you accept what they're saying and it causes an emotional stir, essentially you're agreeing with them. You're saying, yeah, oh, yeah, you know. So if you don't care what they're saying, it's like, in a lot of ways, it's like saying, well, I don't agree with your opinion. Your opinion is bullshit. So why would I react to it? You know. So that's where I'm at now. I'm at this new place where, you know, a lot of opinions don't. You can say opinions. You know, where's it coming from? Do you have any validation to your opinion? In most cases, there's no validation. You know, it's just being upset because someone has a twisted version of you, right, in their own minds, and it kind of pisses you off when somebody has a twisted version of you, and you're like, okay, you know, get away from me because you're evil, you're toxic, you're trying to paint me in a certain way, trying to make me feel a certain way. Get away from me, you know, get the fuck away from me, you know. So when you're at your peace, it's when you're at your best. You know, when you're at your peace, it's when you're at your best. Anyways, I'm pretty tired, pretty exhausted. So I'm gonna probably lay down for a second. I gotta sit down and really work on my book. That's the big thing today. I got a little bit distracted yesterday, but no big deal. Sometimes it's good to be distracted every once in a while, and it was all for good reasons. So, you know, so yeah, all is good here. All is good. I hope you all have a great day. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're worth less than what you are. Okay, you're a human being. That alone, the fact that you're alive, is beautiful. Don't let anybody take that away from you just because of this, because of that, because of the comparisons. Don't do that. Don't play their games. Don't play their comparison games. Okay, find your peace, be happy, move forward. You do that, you won. You're a champion. You won at life. You do that. It doesn't matter where you are in life compared to everybody else. If you just focus on you, you feel like you're being productive, no matter what people say. You just keep moving forward. That's it. You're a winner. You won. You won the game. That's it. You know, that's it. Because if you stay on that track, you're always going to improve. So you won. There's no and failure is a myth. Failure is not real. It doesn't exist. I'm letting you know right now that failure is not real. It's just an attempt that didn't go completely right. Failure happens when you stop attempting, right? You stop your attempt, you stop. But really, failure isn't real because all you did was stop. It's not failure. You just stopped doing something, you know, and you're moving on with something else. It's not failure. You've got something from it. You've learned something. You've adapted somehow to that situation so that next time you're going to be a little bit better. And if you keep that cycle going where you don't get discouraged when it doesn't go completely right, you keep going, you will adapt. It's just a part of nature. You will adapt. You know, if you don't adapt, then you're probably there's something wrong upstairs. You know, you're probably mentally ill. That's a rare case. Majority of people are not mentally ill. They're just lost, you know. Anyways, guard your value with your life. Please guard your value with your life. Please guard your peace and your value with your life. Those are probably the most two important things I can tell you right now about life. If you protect and guard yourself from those things, you're a winner. You're a winner. Anyways, I'm out, people. Go enjoy your day. Go win the day. Go enjoy your day. If you enjoy your day, you won. You're a winner. You won. That's it. If you cannot find a way to enjoy your day, you're losing. You're letting people win. You're letting other people win if you're not having enjoyment. If you don't have joy in your life, you are not winning. You're not winning. You want to win? Find the little things that bring you joy. That's how you win in life. That's how you win in life. Forget about everything else, what people are saying. Do not listen to it. If you listen to it, it'll be like drinking poison. Do not listen to it. Always value yourself. Don't put yourself down. Okay, you make a mistake, well, guess what? You're going to learn. There's a brand new day going to start fresh. Every day is a new chapter, a new page, right? It can be a new chapter, but it's a new page. It's a new page to write out your life, your book, your story. Every day you have a chance. So what's your story about? Is your story about allowing others' opinions to keep you down? Don't make that part of your story. Don't make that part of your story. It's that simple. You know, you have a choice. You can allow others to define who you are, or you can define yourself who you are, you know, by realizing and keeping in check who you are. You know, you keep in check your behaviors, you're conscious and aware of things. What you do affects people. That's it. You're already a winner. You've won the game of life if you're able to find your joy. Anyways, I'm out for reals this time. See ya. That's my last spiel message for the day. Don't let others steal your value.